giving you what you love. It's time to give you what you love. I'ma give you what you love. Give you what you love. I am sharper than a switchblade, first and last of what God made, and that's the truth. But man, keep on trying to hold me back while another chicken head come home to roost. Too strong, try to do me wrong, and the last one standing will order and command you to dance. Oh, dance. Run tell your preacher and your teacher, I'ma give you what you love. I got to give you what you love. It's time to give you what you love. Give you what you love. Give you some love. Yeah, baby. I said I take your time, take what you love, baby, just enough, but never too much, baby. Take your time, take what you love, and when that baby cry, you better look at that, baby. Take your time, take what you love, baby, just enough, but never too much, baby. Take your time, and when it give me some love, won't you give me what you
Good afternoon. You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. If you are hearing the sound of my voice or watching me on any social media stream via Facebook or YouTube, I am Andrea Lawful Sanders, and I am your host on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays from 1 to 4 p.m. I am literally settling my spirit right now. You all, as WURD listeners, deserve the best of everything that Mike and I have to give to you every single day that we get on the air. And so let me apologize, because usually if I know ahead of schedule that we're not going to be live at 1 o'clock, I put up something first thing in the morning to make you all aware, so that I'm not getting 10,000 text messages or phone calls from people. And so please forgive us. We were running a little bit behind schedule. There was some station work being done, and once I found out, I made you aware. And so it's not like us to be tardy, and I just want to apologize for that ahead of schedule. Anyway, it's Monday. Let me just get my whole self together so we can move on and talk about the things that are important to you. The violence in this city continues to rise, but I'm going to start with a couple of things that I need to address quickly. Congressman Dwight Evans secures $6.3 million in spending bills for 8 community projects for the 3rd District. Congressman, House and Senate Democrats worked in a bipartisan way to restore members' abilities to make these requests, but in a much more open and transparent way than was done over 10 years ago. These are not guarantees of funding yet, but he is proud to support these requests, and he believes that they would represent good use of federal funding in our communities. This is one of many tools in the toolbox for Philadelphia, and it is an important one, Evans said. I look forward to this funding passing the House as part of several appropriations bills and going to the Senate So he was also proud to vote for the big and bold American Rescue Plan that is bringing billions of dollars in federal aid to Philadelphia. And he's also pushing for more funding through avenues like his $63 billion Housing is Essential plan, as well as President Biden's proposed American Jobs Plan. So that's it for that. Thank you, Congressman Evans, for your people for sending that over so that I could see that. There was something else that I wanted to share with you quickly. So let me open this up for you so we can talk about this too. And I have to keep track of the time, Michael, because it's 1:19. So I may have to take a quick break. Johan Cahoon from Chalkbeat, Philadelphia wrote this: "No more window fans. District unveils air and surface purifiers for Philadelphia classrooms." Following a contentious year where Philadelphia teachers threatened to strike over ventilation problems in school buildings, Superintendent William Haidt announced Thursday that all classrooms will have air and surface purifiers when school starts in the fall. The safety of the city's aging buildings became a key issue earlier this year in the debate about students returning to school for the first time since March of 2020, after the district bought 3,000 window fans to improve air circulation. Parents and teachers widely criticized the move on social media. Some even suggested that the fans were dangerous. District officials said Thursday the fans won't be used anymore. Instead, the district will use $4.5 million in COVID relief money to pay for air and surface purifiers. When students return in person, learning, our family, staff, and students can be confident that we are taking the necessary steps to prioritize their health and well-being, Haidt said at a press conference in Juanita Juniata Park in the lower northeast. These air and surface purifiers will be at every school and every instructional space, as well as larger spaces that accommodate people. Chief Operating Officer Reggie McNeil said the air purifiers can eliminate 99% of the virus within 3 minutes. A Texas company manufactures the purifiers using technology originally developed for NASA, according to a press release. Haidt also noted that a virtual asynchronous schooling option will be available for families who are not yet comfortable with in-person instructions. He said parents will be given the chance to choose that option later this summer. You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. We will be right back after these messages.
What's up, Philly? It's Solomon. With so much uncertainty surrounding the upcoming school year, now is the time to take charge of your child's education and give them the tools to make learning fun and safe. Check out Commonwealth Charter Academy, which can make a difference in your child's life. Commonwealth Charter Academy, or CCA, is a K-12 public cyber charter school with nearly 20 years of experience providing a flexible, stable online education in the comfort of your home. Enroll today at ccaeducate.me. Your child will receive 1. A world-class accredited education streamed directly into your home at no cost to you. 2. A laptop, headphones, assistance with accessing the internet, and learning materials all provided at no cost to you. 3. A safe learning environment with no bullying or security concerns. Join the nearly 2,500 students from Philly who already attend CCA. The school year begins September 8th. Enroll now at ccaeducate.me.
For the past 10 years, Comcast has been helping students get ready. We've connected 5 million students from low-income families to low-cost, high-speed internet. We're working with both nonprofit partners and city leaders to create over 1,000 Wi-Fi connected lift zones in community centers nationwide. And now we're committing $1 billion to reach 50 million people with the connectivity, skills, training, and the resources they need to succeed in a digital world. Learn more at comcast.com/education.
Family Therapy Vignette Moments with Dr. Lucille Ijoy. Pandemic COVID-19. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is a serious time. You know, we are at a strange time in our lives when we have to make decisions, really important decisions about our lives and the lives of our family and our friends and neighbors and strangers. And you know, making decisions like that is no play. So I'm going to say this little rap for you. We call it a poem or a rap. I hope that when I'm finished saying it, you'll be able to say it also. Pandemic time, the vaccine is free. Get your vaccination as quick as can be. The Delta variant may be a new concern. Be willing to take time. Be willing to learn. And I'm going to tell you something. We all better be willing to learn, and we all better be willing and ready to take that vaccine. This is no playtime. And I would say from the bottom of my heart, amen, amen, and amen.
This is not a fad for us.
We will not resume our regular programming when things die down. We're not black to help our bottom line or because it's politically correct. We're not joining a fight. This has been our fight, our message, our people. Black lives have always mattered here. We are
Undeniably,
indefatigably, unapologetically, permanently Black Talk Media.
WURD.
You're listening to The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders on WURD Radio. Streaming live on WURDradio.com and the WURD Radio app.
Welcome back to The Source. Before I get on the air, I do all sorts of research and, ask all kinds of questions and make a whole bunch of phone calls talking about several things at once. And so there was a bunch of things that I wanted to talk to you about, getting myself back on track. Husa, right? As Lania said, Husa, honey. Mother just Husa'd in the commercial break. I appreciate you. Joseph Simmons wrote, hi, Mother. How can we send our babies back to school in person without a safe vaccine for children under 16? And Joseph, it is interesting that you would ask that. I'm going to take Maurice's call. Give me a hot second, Michael. Give me a hot second. I want to read this to you. Jemima McEvoy from the Forbes staff wrote this. With hospitalizations already surging nationwide, the former FDA head said that the Delta will infect the majority of unvaccinated Americans and may be the most serious virus in their lifetime. With hospitalizations already surging nationwide, Dr. Scott Gottlieb, a former chief of the Food and Drug Administration, offered a dire warning for unvaccinated Americans on Sunday, saying a majority of those who haven't had COVID-19 before will likely become infected by the Delta variant, which would end up being one of the most serious viruses they face in their lifetime. Gottlieb, who served as the FDA commissioner for 2 years under former President Donald Trump, told CBS Face the Nation the Delta variant is so contagious it will infect most unvaccinated people. The bottom line is that many people are no longer susceptible to COVID, Gottlieb said, outlining that nearly 50% of Americans have been fully vaccinated and another third of the population is estimated to have contracted the virus before. But even if it's just 25% of the country or less that remains at risk, that is still a lot of people in absolute terms, he stressed. The former FDA head also emphasized that for many who are infected with the Delta variant, it is going to be the most serious virus they will get in their lifetime in terms of risk of putting them in the hospital. As it stands, 97% of hospitalizations are among those who have not yet been vaccinated, and the trend is nearly identical for deaths, Gottlieb said. Most people will either get vaccinated or have previously been infected, or they will get this Delta variant. I see him, Michael, hold on. Vaccines appear to be working well against the Delta variant. However, public health officials have repeatedly highlighted the risk in unvaccinated counties and states across the country. Hospitalizations have surged more than 30% in the past 2 weeks, according to federal data compiled by the New York Times, with hospitalizations growing more than 80% in 4 states, Nevada, Mississippi, Arkansas, and Oklahoma. Deaths have also been on the rise, though, hovering at less than 300 each day. They are still vastly lower than the rate in the winter. These upward trending numbers have led to a number of places to reimpose certain restrictions. Over the weekend, Los Angeles, California, they reinstated the mask mandate, and I know we've gotten very comfortable, but yesterday I had to go to the First Mount Area Church of God in Christ to see the installation of the brand new NAACP officers, of which Catherine Hicks is now the second female president in its history here in Philadelphia. And one of your most noted listeners and callers, Prince John Akeem, is second vice president. And so I feel heartened now, understanding that the Philadelphia NAACP has been almost defunct in the last God knows how long, that things are getting ready to ramp up again. So much so that I'm getting involved in their youth council. I was very clear that and for years I've wanted to get involved, but I am very mindful about putting my toe and sticking myself into something where people are not doing the work. I feel fairly confident now with Catherine Hicks and Prince and the others that are there as their new leadership, that we're going to see some movement there, that people are going to get their voices heard. But anyway, I go to the church, and before I could walk in, I had to have my mask on, but they made me take my temperature, and I had to, clean my hands. And I just so wish that what was happening over at Mount Area Church of God in Christ is happening everywhere we go. We've gotten so lackadaisical. People are sneezing and coughing and just not covering their hands and their mouths again. And how soon do we forget? So to Joseph's point, we have to really think through what are we doing here, and are we just kind of playing pin the tail on the donkey and trying to figure out things as they go along? And can we stay safe without being vaccinated? All those questions have to be answered. But as you see across this country, everything is being pushing towards the vaccines, because people who are vaccinated are the ones who are less likely, according to the research and the FDA and all of them, the CDC, are less likely to get this virus. Andrea Mandy wrote something. Thank you, Gloria Gainey. She said, anybody ask about the maintenance required for all these air purifiers, the millions of dollars is buying for the schools? I bet you aren't supposed to just plug them in and walk away forever. You're absolutely right. I'm sure there's some maintenance and filters that have to be used to replace over time, because filters catch, right? Whatever the germs are that's there. I have to talk about the violence. We have now passed 300 deaths in this city from violence, and we are at July 19th. So, Maurice, how are you, my brother? What's going on?
How you doing? And I hope you had a nice weekend.
I did.
And I also like to do something that I usually don't do.
Which is?
Because I like to apologize to Jacob.
What?
My good brother Jacob. Sometimes I get so fired up, I say things because I'm mad at everybody, and I take it out on somebody, and the brother has good ideas and good thoughts, and I just want to make sure that I hope he's listening, that it won't happen again. And I get so opinionated, I just be on fire, and I just lash out, and I just want to apologize to the brother, because he is a good brother, and I've been listening to him for years. Yeah. So I got that off my chest.
Yeah, so let me say this to you, because it's one of the things that I fully appreciate about you when you call. I love that you are willing to apologize when you know you've made a misstep. It is a true mark of leadership, Maurice. I got to tell you. Absolutely true mark of leadership. Now go ahead and ruin all of it. Because I know you get ready to fuss. What's on your mind today, sir?
Well, I got the fuss because in the last 2 weeks, there's probably been 100 people been shot.
Yes.
31 on each weekend. Right behind each other. I never known it like that. Even the gang war days, I didn't know it like that.
Yeah.
And what I'm trying to say is, I'm so tired of us keep falling into the same situation over and over again. These preachers and these politicians throw out them $1 million figures, and that's supposed to make our heads blow up. They did the same thing when we tried to get the tax abatement taken away. And what did they do? They came up with the $435 million housing plan, and then they gave us 3 more years of abatement. We got to stop.
So, Maurice, listen, the Philadelphia Inquirer said this is the earliest in the year that the city has even approached 300 killings since at least the early 1990s, and shootings have topped 1,200. This is insane. It's insane. Chris Palmer and Mensa Dean wrote this. Late Thursday night, someone opened fire on a North Philadelphia street and shot 3 people. One died. The city's 300th homicide victim of 2021. Police did not identify the man who died and released few details about the crime, which they said happened on the 1800 block of West Susquehanna Avenue around 11:30 p.m. The other victims, authorities said, were a 14-year-old girl shot in the chest and a 24-year-old man struck on the shoulder. Both were hospitalized Friday, the girl in critical condition. The fatal shooting meant that the city had reached 300 killings more quickly in a single year than any since at least the 1970s. And it kept Philadelphia on pace to top not only last year's 499 homicides, but also its all-time record of 500 slayings in a year set in 1990. So, Maurice, you have called here and you've had several conversations and you have been frustrated. And I have asked, when I talked to all of you, what are the solutions as you see it, right? What are the solutions as you see it, Maurice?
Well, let me tell you something. You read a statement or a proposal by Congressman Evans.
Yes.
Aren't you tired of Democrats making promises they don't keep?
So let me say this. It's not a Democrat or a Republican thing. I'm tired of politicians making promises that they don't keep. I was at an event yesterday, the only one that I went to, and a young man walked up to me and showed me a video of Darrell Clark's office that was boarded up. Looked like no one had ever been there. No one's answering the phones. And I said to him, where'd you get this from? He said, every day for over a week, people have been going to Darrell Clark's office, and there's nobody there. It looks like a ghost town. So are there people answering the phones? Who is answering the phones? Where are they? Because they say they've also been calling, and nobody's answering the phones over there. So how are we getting services? I know that they're breaking for the summer, but the city doesn't take a break for the summer, right? So do we have staff members in place that are answering these phone calls, and with everything reopening, why is his office is boarded up? I literally, I watched the video myself. So what are we missing here?
I can answer that for you right now. This has been going on for years. I mean, this just didn't happen because of COVID. This situation down at City Hall has been having us locked in. They do not follow at City Council the sunshine rules at all. They made up their own rules where you only can talk about what they want to talk about. I can't come to City Hall Council and address any council person about a situation in my neighborhood. If it's not on the bill to talk about, they will push you off the stage.
Yeah.
So till we change them laws, we cannot, we're not change them, or actually go back to the original rules, we'll be able to handle it because they don't want to be embarrassed about the job they're not doing. And here's the biggest problem of all. When election time comes again, we're just going to simply vote back in the same fools that's there now. Now, have you talked about the woman that has left the school board? Why aren't we talking about trying to find a replacement for her instead of just leaving it in the mayor's hand?
So, wait. Another person left the school district, the school board?
She's resigning.
Okay, Father. And this is why I have several.
See, a lot of people don't think. I don't have a college education. All I have is corporate education. But what I'm trying to say is I pay attention to the things that go over people's heads.
Okay.
And I bring it to people's attention that right now we should be looking for a candidate that the city people pick instead of letting the mayor decide to get another one of his cronies to put in there, because we have one of the worst school systems in the country. And we need to admit it. And I don't know why down there at the school board the place ain't on fire, because we just let it destroy our kids. That's why our kids are out there as maniacs now, because they don't have a good education. They have no after-school programs. They have no arts. So we need to look in the mirror and look at ourselves and say, why do we allow these things to happen? I'm tired of blaming politicians and blaming the police. We need to look in the mirror and blame ourselves. Yeah. We keep talking about that they're trying to stop us to vote, but why aren't we having a massive registration drive. Everywhere you go, when you come to an event, you must show your voter registration card. Your voter registration card should be like a URD card. You keep it all the time in your wallet.
So wait a
These
minute.
are the positive things we need to be doing.
Right. So hold on. So Philadelphia School Board member Angela MacGyver resigns effective immediately. It's July 19th. This Joanne Calhoun wrote this again for the Chalk Beat. And it says Philadelphia Board of Education member Angela MacGyver announced her resignation effective at the end of last Thursday's board meeting. Neither MacGyver or board president Joyce Wilkerson gave a reason for her exit or disclosed what she'd be doing next. In 2018, she was one of the first 9 members Mayor Jim Kenney appointed to the Philadelphia Board of Education. Father God.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You see the news that I bring out? I'm not college educated. I just hear what they say and let people know what's going on.
Right. And it's so easy to miss so much of this stuff, Maurice, because so much is happening. So much is happening everywhere. It's so easy to miss this. So now they've got to figure out who is going to replace her.
No, that's right. They're going to figure out, not us. They are going to figure it out.
Yeah.
And I was talking earlier about what happened to the summer jobs for the kids. Summer's over now.
Yeah.
Kids go back to school in August. And guess what? We're going to reach that 600 mark. And that's a crime. I want to cry about that right now.
Ooh.
We right on target. Look, we think it hasn't even got hot yet. Remember, summer can go all the way to the beginning of October with the heat.
Yeah.
And what are we doing? Do we have do we have the place locked down? The delis closed at 8 o'clock? I mean, are they offering any type of affordable housing for people? People are frustrated right now. The young people have given up and they done took to the streets. And that's the problem right now because they don't see a future. We keep wondering why black people are killing black people because they don't see things getting better. That's why. They don't see a dream. We don't give them a dream. We don't give them a hustle. You go down 52nd Street, there's hardly any vendors out there. People used to hustle. People don't gave up. They keep waiting for this imaginary check that's coming from the government. And
which is not going to last forever. That's the other thing, you know. Even though the checks were coming, it's not going to last forever. So what is the plan, y'all? What is the plan?
I'm talking about reparations. I'm talking about reparations.
Oh, Lord.
Reparations is more than a check. Reparations is changing the Constitution. Reparations is getting fair housing. Reparations is a whole lot of things. It's more than just money because what we're going to do with that money, we're just going to give it back to the white man. So we need to know what to do. The bill.
Yeah. And we have to talk about the carousel. The other thing we have to talk about is the carousel house because it's come to my attention that they've been given money twice to update that carousel house. Where'd that money go? What did they do?
Who has brought that to your attention? The three amigos. Am I right? Am I right?
The usual suspects, yes. And of course, you know, and I think it's something the NAACP is getting ready to get involved in because there's just so much stuff going on out here, and we have to choose where to start first. Mark Benjamin, I don't know who Mark is. He said it's called a global strategic plan is what this brother is talking about. It should be a collaborative effort between law enforcement, the mayor's office, mental health, social workers, and academia. Mark Benjamin, I don't have any idea who you are, but that's it. You hit the nail clearly on the head. And until we get outside of ourselves and stop being, who's the biggest cheese and who has the biggest head on here, then we're not going to get anything done on behalf of folks in this city. And it's not getting any better. I'm telling you.
Well, let me leave you with a plan, okay? Because I'm always crying about the problem. Now I'm going to give you a solution. People in your neighborhoods, form a block committee on your block. It's going to happen block by block. Have meetings with your local precinct at least once a month. You know what I mean? To organize yourself to protect your block. Protect the block campaign. That's what I'm going to call it. Start with that. Here is the number for people that want to. And you remember, you're not a snitch, you're a witness. You don't have to give your name or number. The number is 1-215-686.
I got it. 686-8477, because guess who's been talking about it every single day on the air?
Yeah, you.
So Yes. All right. Thank you, my brother. I got to go because I have to take a break. Thank you.
Save some souls. The blind prophet is leaving.
Thank you. Goodbye, Maurice. You are listening to The Source. I see 96.1 FM. So Joanne Kemp said something. How do parents not know their kids can't read unless they, the parents themselves, can't read? Well, there you go. Or they're not paying attention, because I know people who can read and just weren't paying attention. And I'm talking, Joanne, in some of the wealthiest neighborhoods where their children were just kind of sliding through. And they would say, well, it's the teacher's responsibility to make sure that their child could learn to read and write. So some instances is because the parents can't read, and there are other instances where the parents have just dropped the ball completely, because we all, when our children are born, try to make sure that they know how to read ABC 1, 2, 3. Let me just go on. We'll be right back after these messages.
Between family dinners, bedtime stories, and study sessions, Pico knows that life never stops moving. So if your energy bills are adding up, Pico has programs available, like new payment options, flexible billing, and financial assistance to help you manage your bills and your budget for the essential energy you and your family need. Learn how Pico can help keep your life moving with payment arrangements. See if you qualify at pico.com/help.
If you or a loved one is searching for a home care agency that provides care both needed and deserved, call My Independence at Home at 215-921-2277. Featured in Oprah Magazine, My Independence at Home is committed to quality, compassionate home care for the elderly and adults with both physical and intellectual developmental disabilities. Call 215-921-2277 today for a free in-home consultation, or visit us on the web at myiah.org.
Are you an educator looking for a life-changing opportunity? Youth Build Philly Charter School might be the home for you. Apply to Youth Build to join a family of educators dedicated to learning and growing with young people. Check out current opportunities at youthbuildphilly.org or follow them on social media at YouthBuildPHL. Join Youth Build today. Youth Build is now accepting applications for the class of 2021.
Are you looking to hire diverse talent? WURD has got you covered. We just launched a brand new job portal to help connect you with diverse talent in Philadelphia and beyond. If you would like to have your jobs featured on our job portal, give us a call at 215-425-7875 or send us an email at sales@wordradio.com. Check out the job portal today on our livelihood website at wordworks.com. That's WURDworks.com and click jobs.
Join Nick Taliaferro Wednesday, July 21st at 5 p.m. for a very special simulcast conversation on WURD and WVON Radio in Chicago. Hosted by WURD's own Nick Taliaferro and WVON's Matt McGill and Kimberly E. Goen on the impact of violence in Philadelphia and Chicago. That's Wednesday, July 21st at 5 p.m. exclusively on WURD Radio and WURDradio.com. Simulcast on WVON. Two of the only black-owned talk radio stations in the nation join forces for a powerful and timely conversation.
You're listening to The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders on WURD Radio. Streaming live on WURDradio.com and the WURD Radio app.
Welcome back to The Source. So listen, I have 3 callers on the line. I'm going to ask you all, we literally have 9 minutes before I have to go to break, and I have a guest. So I need you all to give me 3 minutes apiece. Let's not go over the time and see if we can get this done, right? So the first person I have is George from Center City. How you doing, George?
And how you doing, Andrea?
I'm hanging, sir. What's going on?
On your school thing here, the first thing you have to do at the school board is get rid of Joyce Wilkerson. You get rid of her, you got rid of the problem. She's still working on stuff from like 30, 40 years ago. She's still stuck in the John Street era. And if you ever go to a school board meeting, she don't even want to have anything to say. And most things she has to say
is she the board president?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
I mean, she's used to be a smart lawyer, but age has caught up with her, and her bitterness has caught up with her. So, she should be, enjoying her retirement. But no, she's sitting there making people's lives miserable with kids and everything else and giving out contracts. Her thing is tutoring. Like I always say, she take care of the Northwest very well, Make sure all those retired people open up a company of tutoring and all that there. She does nothing for artistic children in our schools, you know, or none of that.
Okay.
With mental behavior, none of that.
All right. You got 2 more minutes, George. What else is on your mind?
Yeah, I'm trying to move as fast as I can.
I know, but I want to get everybody in so I don't cut them off.
And Andrea, ask yourself a question.
Mm-hmm.
Philadelphia is setting an example for the whole country with law enforcement. That's the agreement. And this Sunday, it was a bunch of former prosecutors that, you know, are now in private practice that are saying it's all planned out. And they say, and they say, even Michael Court know of them. They say, boy, it's amazing how this played out so quick across the country with that song about defund the police. We don't want the police in the neighborhood. And Philadelphia made a bigger fuss out of it than anyone, and that's why we're paying the price more so than anybody. Because if you look at any of our law enforcement, not any of them is doing anything about gun violence or anything. Ask yourself when the last time that they made a gun arrest. Not nobody, one person. I'm talking about major stuff, like when they be loading up them gun houses, which they can't do nothing about. Ask yourself, I even say this here, within a 16-block radius of a gun house, which is always covered with lights, ring bells, everything. They had it's the best-looking neighborhoods within 16 blocks, and most people invited. And the police and the prosecutors even were saying, everywhere there's a gun house within 16 blocks, there's never been a shooting, there's never been a robbery, anything. Because you know why? They're like those Dominicans. You ever hear of a Dominican store getting robbed? No, you know why? They handle their business. And everybody you know, if you go within 16 blocks, 4 blocks this way, east, west, south, north, is that you're going to be dealt with.
All right, so George, because I got Prince and I have Michael from Abington on, so now I got to cut you short. If you want to call back, call back. Yes, sir.
I wish you would spend more time and hold these people accountable, because if the elected officials is loving this, because that's what they're going to run on, because they had a year and a half of doing nothing, sitting on the couch becoming Gordo, and the people praising them for sitting on the couch. Boy, how stupid can you be? You get what you asked for. You asked for what you got it.
All right. Thanks, George. I appreciate your calling in, okay? Michael from Abington, how are you, sir?
Hi, how are you today?
I'm good. I'm good.
I'm gonna piggyback a little bit real quickly on what you said. I think that these kids that are doing this damage, black and white kids, and it is mostly children, if you were to flood the streets today with the National Guard and with 3 kinds of police and with the 82nd Airborne, this crime would stop instantly. These kids are not out of their mind. They may be cowards, but my point is, what did this all get us? This finding 1 police officer, 2 police officers, feeling uncomfortable because we live in a crime area and the police are being rough. Let me tell you something. You want to stop this shooting? You want to stop this madness? There is only one answer. None of us like it. We have to flood the streets with police. We need those black kids that are having this problem with the police to become the police. They need to go to those places where police is trained. They need to, that's got to be their future. They got to become the police of the street. And you know what? If we can do that, if we can give the police back their power, stop keep banging them, and let them do their job and flood the streets, you will see, whether or not you're going to like how the police act, you will see a downturn in these shootings, because we're a population right now that can't police ourselves. Period.
Yep. Thank you, Mike. I appreciate it. I appreciate you calling in. Prince, how you doing?
Hey, how are you?
You got 3 minutes, man. 3 minutes. I'm literally on the gun now.
Yeah.
What's up?
I'm not even going to take that long. First of all, you don't solve a problem with running a bunch of cops inside the area, because once people find out that there's more of them than there are police officers, we're going to have a major problem. So that's the wrong idea. You know, you tried to bring the National Guards in, and you tried to do this during the pandemic, and you had cops lifting masks up and spraying people and doing all kinds of stuff they aren't supposed to be doing. And to your point, I'm going to get off that, but to your point, if the city council people have allocated money for the last 2 to 5 years for the carousel house to be repaired, and it did not get repaired, you should not be tearing that building down until we found out where the money went for the last couple of years. So the excuse that we appropriate and we investigate is irresponsible. And I heard that when the white kid was on the COVID, they said we appropriate and we investigate. But you don't do anything in between. Cindy Bass came on Nick Farrell's show and said the contractor can literally stretch the plan to do the work, and we won't find out until we find out. So you got one recreation center for the handicapped. When you move snow or when you are going to a supermarket, the handicap accessible space always identified at first. How is it you never identified repairing the handicap accessible recreation center first in your budget out of all 69 recreation centers?
Right.
And I just say, if you think we're stupid, okay, that's something else. But if you think that we're smart, then we're showing ourselves to be irresponsible to let a councilman tear down a building which he voted for the funding to get repaired. That's irresponsible. And that's not a certain group argument. That should be Black Clergy's argument. That should be Black people argument, Black coalition's argument. It's just a travesty that we would allow this to happen and not more groups. Nobody should be the main focus on this. Everybody should be focused on this. Everybody. Yeah. So nobody stand up and say, I started it, I let them march. No. It benefits everybody, so everybody should be a part of this, fixing this solution right here.
All right. Well, thank you. We're going to have, you all can call back at 3:30, I think at 2:20. I've got to go on this thing, but congratulations, Prince, for being the second vice president of the new leadership of the NAACP. I look forward to seeing, you're going to have to shut down a whole lot of naysayers, right? Because they kept saying, all you do is talk and you don't do nothing. So let's just see what's getting ready to happen here now. And I did have a good conversation with Catherine Hicks this morning about the responsibility that is on her head and on this new team's head. There's just so much to do and so much that has to get done. So we're going to ask you all to step up to the plate. It's a fully volunteer organization. The one in Philadelphia has been just about defunct. We haven't seen and heard their voices in the city in I can't tell you how long for issues that truly matter to the people, or even to explain to the people why they're not taking on certain things. Sheriff Rochelle Bilal said something yesterday that struck me. I'll talk about that if I have a little bit of time later on in the show. But right now, we're going to take a break. You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. We will be right back after these messages.
Hey, WURD family, did you hear? It's official. The Colorectal Cancer Alliance just announced the new age for colon cancer screenings has been officially lowered to age 45 for everyone. If you are 45 or older, it's time to get screened. Go to WURDradio.com and click on the Go to Know banner to register for your free at-home screening test. Did you know colon cancer is largely preventable with on-time screening? And there's a 90% survival rate when caught early. African Americans are 20% more likely to get colon cancer and about 40% more likely to die from it than most other groups. So for the next 3 months, you can go to WURDradio.com and click on the Go to Know banner for your free at-home screening test. A screening navigator will contact you to ask a few questions and help you get screened. It's that simple. Again, just go to WURDradio.com, click on the Go to Know banner, and fill out the form to request your free at-home screening test. Go to Know today. AARP is working to protect Americans 50 plus by making sure you have the latest information about the COVID-19 vaccines and the distribution plans in Pennsylvania. Just visit aarp.org/PA vaccine to learn who's eligible for the COVID-19 vaccine, when, where, and how to get it in Philadelphia and the rest of the Commonwealth, and what you might want to discuss with your doctor. That's aarp.org/PA vaccine.
Hi, this is Samantha from Leo's Apparel on Germantown and Lehigh Ave. Open from 9:30 to 5:30 Monday through Saturday. We have the hottest selection of boys' dress suits and casual sportswear for boys sizes 2T to 20. Men, let me tell you, we got in a large shipment of straws from Stetson. We have new linen and dress suits. Biggest selection of Stacey Adams shoes. Get an extra WURD 10% discount.
Want the latest in WURD swag?
Check out the shop tab on WURDradio.com. Hoodies, tees, and more in a variety of colors. The shop tab on WURDradio.com. Show the world that you're all about black.
Talk media.
Lifting every voice
Till earth and heaven ring.
This is WURD Radio. 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD Philadelphia.
Black Talk Media.
You're listening to The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders on WURD Radio. Streaming live on WURDradio.com and the WURD Radio app.
Welcome back to The Source. While I wait for Dr. Liz to call in, and she really has a great book on parenting, so I think this would help a lot of people. I'm looking at Joanne Kemp, and folks on here said, children, all these children have the world. Nico Tim, I think that's who this is. All these children have the world in their hands, but instead of looking up who Ida B. Wells, etc., they're looking at TikTok at nonsense. Joanne Kemp said some parents nowadays are immature and in need of parenting themselves. Well, over here, I just want to see, let me see. Joseph Simmons just said the stock market is crashing due to COVID fears, down 900 points. Lord have mercy. So I'm going back over here to talk about, I complimented Mark Benjamin. He said, I am an law enforcement officer in the city of Atlantic City, and we're facing the same atrocities that are happening in Philadelphia. He's a black man, father, a preacher, a community activist, lover of all things black, especially our children. And he says, I am a longtime listener who enjoys your topics, your input, your research, and your commitment. Did not know that. Today, that brother struck a chord in me that reminded me it takes a village to raise a child, and then the child becomes the village paladin for the next generation. We need to go back to the old past where we sustain ourselves, we support ourselves, we feed ourselves, we clothe ourselves, we transport ourselves. I'm talking about the conscious effort to restore the black family, the black community, the black economic and academic system, the 1619 project. And so and then when I think it was when Mike from Abington got on, he said, sir, with all due respect, there's a law in place called the Posse Comitatus. I think that's his act, where the military cannot perform day-to-day police duties in the streets of America unless martial law is declared. Sir, you are out of line. It is not meeting force with force. It's creating opportunities for children to be employed, entertained, and taught. It's so interesting that Dr. Liz is getting ready to come on. I have been very vocal about my own two children. I call them son number 1 and son number 2. And when I gave birth to my firstborn child, to Joanne Kemp's point, I remember looking at his face and saying to myself, everything that this child does from the time he comes out of my womb to the time he becomes a full-blown adult is upon me and his father. And so I was very deliberate. I was talking to a friend of mine who just gave birth to, she just has a 4-year-old son, and she and I are almost the same age. And she said to me, I don't even know what to do. I feel like I'm old and I can't keep up, et cetera, et cetera. And I said, you have a baby boy who is going to do extremely well because you're going to make sure he gets what he needs. When she was working, I was having children. And let me tell you something, it is a sacrifice, and not a sacrifice in a bad way, to be a parent that is intentional about raising your children. I remember being challenged by quote unquote friends who were like, Why can't your children go out and hang out with Lottie Dottie and everybody? Why does your children have a certain bedtime every night? Why does your children have to come home, have a snack, and then sit and do their homework at 2 and 3? I was intentional because by the time they got to 5th and 6th grades, I didn't have to tell them to come home, have a snack, and do their homework. They had already been set up that way. I'm going somewhere with this story. So, you know, and I mean, I was criticized over and again. You're too, you know, you're too this, you're too that, you're too that. But I was reading to them. We played board games. We played educational board games so that they would always be critically thinking. And there were times when I wondered if I did the right things with them, you know, because there was a lot of prayer, a lot of faith, a lot of family, a lot of conversations with family members, especially when the oldest one had his hand broken by a police officer. And I had to look him in his face and say, not all police officers are like this. And I need you to continue to be respectful when stopped by the police, and if anything happens that is out of sorts, stay alive to come home so that we can handle it. We've had to handle it several times for him, and it was worth every dime that we had to put up, because each time he was found, you know, to be innocent. And I remember the one judge, when he was driving my car, when he came to visit, he has his own house, bought his own house at 23. They thought he was a football player. It didn't occur to them that he just had good credit and was paying his bills on time. And they told him as much. We just didn't think that, we'd never seen anything like this. And when he came and he was driving my car, and they stopped him and gave him all sorts of bogus things about the license plate and this and that and that and that. And I had to hire a civil rights lawyer to make sure. And I mean, it's daunting that our children can't live their lives and do the right things and still feel like they're accomplishing something. Saying all of that to say, he's killing it. Both of them, both my children, they're living in separate places doing that. This morning, I come home from my bike ride, and I'm sitting having breakfast, and he calls me, and he says, I called Dad, and I said this to him, but it was easier for me to have this conversation with him. It's not as easy for me to have it with you. I want to say thank you, Mom, for everything that you did to raise me and my brother. I realize now at this side, almost close to 30, that you have done everything the right way, that you have the decisions that you made were the best decisions that you could have made at the time. It helped me to become the man that I am, and I just want to thank you. And he expounded on some other things, and I looked at the phone because he FaceTimed me, you know, and with all sincerity, just was so grateful for the fact that, you know, he had a bedtime at a certain time, that they were not able to play video games, that I spent a lot of time with them in museums, and we visited the park. Didn't have a whole lot of money at first, and so we did a whole lot of free things, but I was with my children. When they went to bed, I went to bed. We had dinner at a certain time every day. I was talked about like a rabid dog from the Jamaicans, even the Jamaicans. We don't see you all the time. Where are you? You're so busy raising children. We don't ever see you. On this side of it, I'm hearing, oh my God, your sons are just such wonderful people. And I'm like, the bottom line is it takes a certain amount of sacrifice to raise well-rounded children. Throwing things at them, buying them the latest everything is not what they're asking for. My sons will tell you, they've said this over and again, we just loved how you loved us, that you were there, that we could put our hands on you, that you weren't traveling all over the place doing everything for everybody else, and that we were second or third or fourth or fifth. It was God and then my children at every single turn. Do you understand what I'm saying? So when we talk about these things, we want to make sure that you all are, you know, we can point at the school district, and yes, they are culpable in many, many ways. I've had to challenge them on many turns about my own 2 children, and I had to remind them, what you're not going to do today. Are they doing their work? Are they stepping up to the part? Okay, then please put them in their classes and let's figure this thing out. Didn't ask for any special favors for them. I held their feet to the fire and held them accountable. And now they're grown men doing the right things. One just ended up in Ebony magazine as an influencer. The other one is on this other side, killing the game, wants to retire by the time he turns 35. That is not accidental, people. That is conscious work. And don't tell me it was because I had a whole bunch of money, because I'm telling you, I am telling you, it was a lot of work. There were times when I couldn't even remember how I was going to pay certain bills. And the other thing that I did with due diligence was making sure that Dad was always a part of everything that was going on. I didn't have hurt feelings. I didn't say, well, you know, we're divorced and we're not together and I can't do this without. I made sure. There were weekends when I didn't see my children because they were with Dad. Dad picked up summertime. Oh God, Mom, can we have our passports? We're going here, there, and there with Dad. all the time. And I never once complained because I understood that it took not just me and their father, but any other family members that were around, that we had a whole village around them to make sure that they were okay. Because the bottom line is this: there are black men who are growing up in America. There are black men who, there were going to be people who looked at them and made assumptions simply because of the color of their skin, not by the content of their character. So if everything that we did was to make sure that they were going to be okay, the biggest accomplishment I have ever had in my life is raising my children. Raising my children, and that I just didn't, Dad was complete. I mean, and it was so good. Let me tell you how good it was. And I'm sharing all of this with you because oftentimes when relationships don't work and we get in our feelings and we get bent out of shape, fathers get to the place where the child turns 18 and was like, I'm done. When both my sons turned 18, Dad called and said, okay, they're going to college. I'm paying for college. I will help you to pay for college for them. And we stayed straight on through, graduated from college, moving into their first apartment. I will help you, Andrea. We're going to go half on this. Wanted their first little old car, little used car? Yes, Andrea, you can come. Let's go ahead and let's work together. That's parenting, y'all. That's staying and getting out of your feelings and doing what you're supposed to do on behalf of the children that you gave birth to, period. So I say this all the time. Before you lay with somebody, please look, before you even kissy, smoochy face. Look at them. Look at their family environment. Look at who they are as people and say, is this someone I could have children with? Because accidents do happen, right? And oftentimes we find ourselves caught up. So I'm saying to you, please, I was going through a divorce when my children were little. And I remember nights crying and saying, okay, you're going to have to figure this out. And we figured it the hell out. We figured it out. Dad called, all right, can I have, okay, yep. Sometimes I made plans with the boys for the weekend. Dad called, yep, go ahead, go with your father. I'm cool. There were many weekends where I was alone by myself, doing, because I just changed plans. It was never about my feelings. I had to take my feelings out of the way. And if this little spiel that I just went on can help somebody, then please let it help you. Take yourself out of the equation and think about your children first. Because once they become adults, once you get to the place where you just have no control left, come on. Who are you going to call? Ghostbusters? For real. And when they're little and malleable and between birth and 5, when you can tell them, you can train them. And if you're not sure, ask people what you need to do. What can I do? I feel like I'm missing something here. You think there were days where I felt like I didn't have it all together? I was calling my mother, Mom, I don't know. When they got to 16, I was calling my sisters. I was calling everybody that I could think of within my family sphere that I could trust to say, this is what I am dealing with. And when they got to 13 and 14 and 15 and started smelling themselves, I called Dad. I remember one time the oldest one was like, called father. Father showed up, snatched him up, and was like, okay, we're going to have a talk, because what you're not going to do is talk to your mother that way. You understand what I'm saying? But you have to have an agreement as parents to kind of figure out what you're going to do on behalf of your children. Having money is not it. I have met way too many children whose parents had a load of money and didn't have their parents' time and energy, and they grew up resentful. All they want is for you to spend as much time as you can with them while you can. Did I make myself clear? So the next time you see me talking about X, Y, and Z, I don't name my sons in any national social media platform. They're son number 1 and son number 2. My husband is called Mr. But we talk about these things all the time. And for my son, who is turning 29 in 2 days, to call me today and say, thank you, Mom. I don't care what else I accomplish in my life. I don't care if I meet the president of every country in the world. Being a parent, raising my children to be responsible human beings was the biggest achievement I have ever had, bar none. And this is what I want parents to think about when they're talking about raising their children. Stop pointing the fingers all the time at everybody. Yes, ask the schools to be culpable, but I need you to be culpable too. What role are you playing on the other side? If you're working 2 and 3 and 4 jobs, who is in your circle that you can say, I got to be at this shift and that shift? Who can help me to do what I need to do with my children? There are ways to do it, y'all. There are ways to do it. I had absolutely nothing but love in my heart and a blueprint from my own parents on what to do with my own 2 children. And as I started to make money and to do what I needed to do, because I had to start all over again, I made sure that my children were always at the forefront of everything that was going on. Let's get it together, people. Let's get it together. Father. Anthony from South Philly, how are you?
Young lady, you're preaching, baby. You're preaching.
Ooh.
Oh,
it's just because we spend so much time. It's everybody else's fault. Pick up the damn mirror and look inside of it, right? All of us. Pick it up. And I've seen too many men who want to take care of their children, who have been thwarted at every turn, who have gone to court, cried buckets of tears because somebody went into court and lied on them and said they didn't care about their children. And the court tells them, pay the money, and, you know, if she don't want it, what can we do? So the court system is getting a little bit better as it applies for children and fathers, because fathers play an integral role in all of this. We can't just let them fall apart now. Come on. But if you lay with the man, let him spend time with his children. Father. All right, I'm done.
Amen. Amen, sister. I'm going to pass the plate, sister.
All right. What's going on, sir?
Okay, listen, I would like to say to you, everything that you had mentioned for the last 10 minutes is on point. Children, Andrea, they like structure.
Yes.
And if you notice, Andrea, when you were saying that the people were criticizing you, the road to success is always narrow.
Yes.
But that road to destruction is always very wide.
Yep.
You chose to take the narrow road.
Yep.
And look at the outcome of it.
Yep.
Okay?
Yep.
You can always tell the truth by the fruit it bears, Andrea. Okay? And you say your children are 30, number 1 and number 2, whatever their ages are.
Yes. So number 1 will be 29 in a couple of days, and number 2 just turned 24. Yep.
You don't look much more than 29 yourself, young lady. Okay?
I'm old as dirt, though. Let me just tell you. Good genes, good skin.
Okay. You carry it well. But let me say this here in answer too. You are never done raising your children. I don't care how old they get. As long as you're on this earth as a parent, you're never done with them.
Yes, that you're absolutely true. That's another thing my mother told me. You're right.
They still come to you right now, mom, and you have to be there to support until the day you close your eyes.
Yep.
I'm 73, and mine still come to me.
Yep.
And guess what? I am so happy to be there for them.
Oh, okay.
So, Andrea, I'm in your corner 100%, young lady. I don't call you often, but I listen to you. You are a woman of much wisdom. I have a friend from your country. His name is Henry. He always tells me, first of all, he says, Tyrone, that a bird can't fly on one wing. The second thing he always says, we always close up there, one love, one heart. Let's get together.
Let's get together and feel all right. Can I share something with you, though? I remember my mother telling me the story. My mother's a little bit older than my father. And I remember her telling me that when I was born, I am the oldest of 4. When I was born and he looked at my face, apparently I look exactly like his mother. When he looked at my face, he gave up cigarettes. And my father, I was just sharing on Facebook how he wasn't, parents, we look for perfect parents, but they're not perfect. I used to think my father was just the meanest, strictest human being on earth. But he would take us out and he would buy us patties, right? And he would open the patties and cool them off. And from the youngest to the oldest, I always got my patty last, but I was cool with that. He would cool our chocolate drinks on. And I didn't realize at the time that watching my father and my mother with the way they were working with us as children and how they worked in tandem with us helped me to become the parent that I am today. Does that make sense?
Well, you're a carbon copy of what you're around.
Yes.
Children are a reflection of what they say. Okay, so young lady, like I said before, you did a great job. I just sat here and listened to you and stumped it all in because some of the pointers you gave me at my age, I'm still going to use for my children.
Yes. Yes, and so I can go now. I can get on a plane and go see my father and mother because, they've been together now for 50-something years. And I'll walk in the house and I'll say, Daddy, can I have some mangoes? And he'll go running to the store and he'll pick out the choicest this and the choicest that. And he'll say to Mommy, Andrea loves fish mix. And my mother is rolling her eyes and sucking her teeth. You spoil your girls, she says. You spoil your girls. But we get what we need, right? And as what I'm realizing is the love I get from that end from them is what I'm able to pour not just into my children, but anybody that comes in contact with me. My parents said riches fade, but good manners and loving on people and treating them with dignity and respect never, ever will. And so, yeah, even if we didn't have that with our parents, we can start to form those things on behalf of our children. My father didn't have that. His mother died when he was 11, and his father went off gallivanting and do what he wanted to do. But he made the conscious decision to be a better parent and a better father. And that's what he is, the most amazing father to 4 girls. So what choice did we have but to be good parents to our children? You understand what I'm saying?
Andre, it's all about choice. I always tell my grandkids when I leave them in the morning, I drop them off at camp. Make wise decisions and good choices.
Yep.
Okay? And your father showed you what a good man should look like.
Yes, he did, because I have an amazing husband. You hear me?
Sure.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
I could talk to you forever, but I will be calling you again, young lady.
Yes, thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Have a great day.
All right, you too. All right, bye-bye. Mike, can you see if Dr. Liz can get, because I have some time. I don't have another guest until 3 o'clock. See if Brianna can send her the right link, because I'd love to see her while I'm having this conversation with her. This all started with Dr. Liz, by the way, because I knew she was coming on, and she is so amazing when it comes to giving tips to children, right? The last thing I'm going to say before Dr. Liz comes on is this. As parents, you're not always going to get it right. Be kind to yourself. It is okay to crawl up in your bed and cry when you've made a mistake, because you're not always going to get it right. The only thing I'm going to ask you is don't sit there steeped in the regret and feeling like you can't do anything else other than the mistake that you made. Does that make sense? Right? I really just want you. Oh, Lord. Okay, so apparently my little tirade, and I can't even apologize for it, because I don't want people to think that good children just sprout up out of the ground, that, there's work that has to go into them. There's work that you have to do as parents. You have to take yourself outside of yourself, right? And so, woo, Lord, on Facebook. It's, okay, Michael, let me see what Michael is saying. She's in the waiting room. Yeah, let her in, Michael. Let her in. And then I'll take a quick break, and then we'll go. Dr. Liz, how are you?
I am fine. How are you?
Listen, I saw that you were going to be on, and I went on this long soliloquy about parenting. So I'm so excited. Can you hang tight? Let me take a quick break, and then you and I can go right through. Is that all right?
No problem.
All right, hold on. You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. We are going to be right back with Dr. Liz after these messages.
What's up, Philly? It's Sincerely Sarita. With so much uncertainty surrounding the upcoming school year, now is the time to take charge of your child's education and give them the tools to make learning fun and safe. Check out Commonwealth Charter Academy, which can make a difference in your child's life. Commonwealth Charter Academy, or CCA, is a K-12 public cyber charter school with nearly 20 years of experience providing a flexible, stable, online education in the comfort of your home. Enroll today at ccaeducate.me. Your child will receive 1, a world-class accredited education streamed directly into your home at no cost to you. 2, a laptop, headphones, assistance with accessing the internet and learning materials, all provided at no cost to you. 3, a safe learning environment with no bullying or security concerns. Join the nearly 2,500 students from Philly who already attend CCA. The school year begins September 8th. Enroll now at ccaeducate.me.
Star Fusion Express is Philly's first
first choice when cravings for big, juicy burgers, crispy chicken sandwiches, delicious wings, crisp salads, creamy mac and cheese, innovative spring rolls, and delectable fresh seafood kicks in. Did you hear that? Star Fusion Express at 5178 Parkside Avenue in West Philly is your go-to for fresh, flavorful, homemade deliciousness 7 days a week. Learn more and check out the menu at starfusionrestaurant.com. That's starfusionrestaurant.com for the best burgers, chicken sandwiches, wings, salads, spring rolls, and fresh seafood creations in Philly's Parkside neighborhood. Holla!
Thinking about retirement? Make sure a My Social Security account is a part of your plan. A My Social Security account gives you secure access to your personal earnings history and benefit status. You can find out if you're eligible to receive benefits, compare retirement benefit estimates at different ages or dates, view spousal benefit estimates, and more. Plan for your future. Open a My Social Security account at ssa.gov/myaccount. Social Security, securing today and tomorrow.
Produced at U.S. taxpayer expense.
You're listening to The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders on WURD Radio. Streaming live on WURDradio.com and the WURD Radio app.
Welcome back to The Source. The impetus behind that long soliloquy I just gave you is now in the waiting room with me. Dr. Elizabeth Henry, affectionately known as Dr. Liz, is a nationally renowned board-certified pediatrician, parent coach, speaker, workshop facilitator, and best-selling author. She's a trusted advisor to parents and youth and the founder of Dr. Liz Consulting. Her new book, You Are Not a Bad Parent, A Pediatrician's Guide to Reducing Conflict and Connecting with Your Teens, is now available on Amazon. It reached #1 in the Parenting Teenagers and Parenting Reference bestseller list. Oh, I believe it. I believe it because when you and I had that first conversation, I was like, oh, Dr. Liz, you absolutely get it. You get it. So I was sharing with the audience that this morning, while I was having my breakfast, my oldest son called me and said, thank you. Thank you for every decision that you made to get me to this place, my brother and I to this place. And I understand that you made the best decisions that you could in the time, and it helped us to become the men that we are today. I didn't cry.
You didn't cry?
No, I didn't cry. Listen, because my sons don't like mushy, right? So what I said to him at the end was I thanked him. I told him that I appreciated his becoming a man that his parents can be proud of. But then I said to him, I'm coming to visit you. I'm going to unravel all your toilet paper, use up all your air, and run your water. He said, bye, Mom. And he hung up the phone.
Oh, that's funny.
Yes. So welcome back.
Well, thank you for having me back. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yes, ma'am. So listen, we're going back and forth about this parenting thing. School districts are, wondering, they're talking about the fact that parents can't read. If children can't read, how is it that parents don't know that their children can't read just as they're graduating from high school? So let's start here.
Okay.
What do parents really need to know when they give birth? Because I think we don't, literally, thank God for your manual. but we're flying by the seat of our pants. So what do parents need to not worry about? And what do they need to know as they give birth or as they adopt their children and trying to raise them?
Well, that's a broad question. So they need to really know that it's going to be okay. There, as you said, there's no parenting manual. There's no book that can explain all the ins and outs of parenting. And as a parent, throughout all of the stages, you're going to question your parenting ability. Like, how many parents have asked, like, what happened? Especially when they enter the teen years. Like, what happened? Why don't they listen to me anymore? Like, why did they just come in, go in the room and shut the door? Like, what am I doing? Am I doing something wrong? Am I a bad parent? And as a pediatrician, many parents have come in and asked me that question. And so I want to say, for all of the parents out there who are asking themselves that question, that I want to tell them that a lot of it is not your fault. A lot of things that your kids are going to do and will do has nothing to do with you, and that you're definitely not a bad parent. And what happens as your kids get older, as your listeners' kids get older, the conflict that occurs as they're becoming more independent. And there's always a battle, there's a tension, they're testing your boundaries, they're getting on your last nerve, and they're trying to find themselves by stepping out of the shadow, as there are different stages. There's a toddler stage, and as a teen, they're really trying to get their own groove and step out of the shadow of their parents. But by doing this, they're scared, and it's painful for parents to see, because their little boy, their little girl, they're growing up. So I would say, just as a parent, you have to give yourself a break. And that's why I created this book, because it's designed to give every parent, like all of you, the solutions, everything you want, everything you need to build a lasting connection, because that's the most important thing to build with your kids, is this connection, so that they're going to want to come to you when they have troubles. They're going to want to talk to you. They're going to want to ask for your advice. Yeah. And so that they all come back like your son and say thank you. Eventually.
And they call and ask for advice. I was like, why are you calling me? Call your father.
Well, that's great. So you did a lot of things right.
Thank God. I don't think I got it all right, but I did get a lot of it right. And this is the greatest. Thank you so much, Dr. Liz, because I said to a friend of mine the other day, I was somewhere, and he said, I can't stand my 16-year-old daughter. I said, you're not going to like her for a while.
For quite a while. For quite a while.
He said this adorable little girl has become a sulky teenager who wants nothing to do with anything, and she wants to wear what she wants to wear. And I said, she's just finding her independence. So you are absolutely right. Yeah.
Yes.
But when you're in the moment, it doesn't feel good.
It doesn't feel good at all. And you're just like, and how I came about writing this book is that, like, I never intended at all to write a book. But as a pediatrician, I ended up having an insider view, a window seat to the conflict that occurs. And I witnessed firsthand the breakdown, as you were talking about with that 16-year-old, the breakdown that inevitably occurs as kids get older and become teenagers. And so in my practice, I studied the language and the dynamics, and I could see the tension and the conflict. I saw the eyes rolling, the teens, when the teens start to roll their eyes back and suck their teeth and give you the side glances. And I also noticed the parents, their resignation and their frustration. And I said, I have to do something about this. And because these teens, I used to see them come into the practice and they were holding their mother's hands and they were willingly giving them hugs and kisses. And now I see these teens with their arms crossed at the other side of the room, and everything their parents saying, they're contradicting them. So
I want to share a story with you, Dr. Liz. This is so funny.
Oh, let me hear that.
My youngest son was in middle school. I was a school board member at the time.
Okay.
And his teachers loved him, but he just kept getting a D in this one subject. So I called for a meeting with his principal and the English teacher. It was English at the time. And everybody's sitting there having a conversation. He's looking down. He's looking all around. He's respectful, but he's not saying anything. So finally they said to him, so I said to him, so what do you have to say for yourself? And he said, I don't even know why everybody is so worried. A D is really not failing. And at some point you all will realize that I'm going to do what I need to do to make it through, and I'm going to be all right. It took, the woman that was sitting beside me held my hand.
She knew to hold you back.
Listen, there was a sore cloud on my face, and he was looking at me like, we're in a room full of people. I know, and you're a school board member, so I know you're not going to do but so much. And it was when he was in his third year of college, he finally said to me, I was bored out of my mind. I wasn't challenged, but he couldn't, in his head, at that point, he couldn't explain it to me. He said because he was having such high-level conversations that weren't trickling back into his English classes. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
But they don't know how to have that conversation. He frustrated me to no end, and he is now kicking behind, just doing amazingly. He was bored.
Yeah, well, I mean, I have a similar story. My daughter's now 23, and so I was seeing these changes happen with my patients in the teenage years, and I thought to myself, oh, well, this isn't going to happen to me, and boy, was I surprised. So the transformational template that I created and applied to my patients, I said, oh, I'm going to have to use this when she entered her preteen she was like 9 or 10, and she was a complete opposite of me. I'm science, straight A's, perfectionist. And she was very creative, and she still is very creative, like the complete opposite. And she could get A's and B's, but when I asked her, I was like, "You can do this. Like, why aren't you really applying yourself?" She's like, "Well, why do I have to?" And I thought I was going to lose my mind until I realized, and until I applied what I practiced what I preached, and really realized that she's not a mini me. She has her own abilities, her own expression, and she has her own talents and passions. And once I kind of realized that and applied what I came up with in the book, our relationship opened up, and the conflict, the tension, we weren't at odds anymore, and really now we enjoy being together. So I feel you. Yeah. And I feel for every parent who has a teenager.
Yeah, and you opened up another point where parents, I've listened to parents, and I cringe every time I hear a parent say this. I want my child to become a doctor, a lawyer, an engineer. Never asked the child what they wanted to do. Yeah. And because of the way, because my parents wanted me to become Oprah Winfrey or a lawyer, or, and I became an advocate, right? And they were like, well, what the hell? And what are you going to do?
Where did we go wrong?
Right. So they've since apologized to me because they did realize that I was following my heart and my passions. And my sons, when they were getting ready to go off to college, I said, be the best you there is. Yes. Do not ever look at me and think I have any expectations of you. Go do what makes your heart sing. And I think as a direct result, they're so young and doing so well because I didn't put any pressure on them to be anything other than what they wanted to be. Right. What advice do you have for parents who say, well, I didn't have it and I wanted to become a lawyer or a doctor or whatever so that they can have what I didn't have? What advice do you have for parents who say that?
Well, I mean, I say what you just said, and you have to really be interested and engaged in your teen and really learn how to connect with them so you know what their talents are, what their true potential is, and then lead them in that direction. If they're good in the arts and they're creative, lead them in that direction. Have them pursue their passion. Now, I'm not saying that they pursue something and they don't get a job and all of that, but really when they're passionate and when they know you're interested and engaged in their passions, it really brings the parent and the teen together. And that's some of the techniques that I write about in my and that I applied to and I gave to parents in my practice. And when I did that, and when I shared and I gave the parents in my practice action steps to take, they were shocked, and they came to me and they were so thankful and grateful. And one parent said, I can't believe that the techniques you gave me, my daughter is actually coming to me and asking me for my advice.
So listen, give me one or two examples of how your approach makes a difference.
Well, there are a couple of different ways to listen. So one thing I show you in the book is how to listen and have your kids open up to you. And one way to do that is listen, not to respond, but listen for the sake of listening. So, like, what do I mean by that? It means that sometimes we're listening as parents for an opening to speak and an opening to give our opinion and to fix things. And our kids just want to vent. They just want to talk. And when they think that you're going to just fix things or give an opinion, they shut down immediately. And so that communication gap becomes wider, and the connection between you becomes closed. And another technique that I share in the book is how to prevent a disagreement from escalating. Because, right? So, you know how those little disagreements, like about curfew, going to a party, hanging out with your friend, they can blow up and there's a big explosion, doors may be slamming, and so it's a big deal.
But Dr. Liz,
yes,
when I was growing up, I didn't dare slam a door. I didn't close the door, Dr. Liz. Our Jamaican parents would have been karate chopping that door down. When did these children get so liberated?
It's just a different time. We went from one extreme to another, and I think one pitfall that parents fall into is that as teens get older and want their independence, that they're hands off.
Yeah.
So, and I'm not saying to be hands off, because teens really want discipline and structure.
Yep.
Now, they're going to give you a hard time when you give it to them, but that's what they really want and need. So you really have to kind of walk that line between allowing them to be independent, but yet providing the structure, the discipline, and the consequences for not doing what they need to be doing. So another tip in the book is when you're also angry and frustrated, because you're going to be inevitably, that they did something or said something wrong, or they don't have the rules, that they don't abide by the rules. Don't leave them with that emotion. Make sure at the end of the day, like all kids need to know that their parents unconditionally love them. They may not disagree with them. They may be upset. They may be angry, but they need to know that they're going to be loved and accepted no matter what.
Great. These are. I need to have you on once a month or something.
I would love it. I would love it. Feel free, Andre.
I just love the way you describe what we are, because you get it. You absolutely get it. And I love the tips that you're giving. So provide a few strategies to help parents deal with challenges that teens are bound to face as they head back to school.
Well, as they head back to school, kids, especially when we're coming out of this pandemic, the connection between parents and teens are so important. So, and a lot of teens I'm finding are having anxiety about going back to school. All of a sudden, before the pandemic, the rug was ripped from under them, and now they have to readjust again. Yeah. So one of the main things that I tell parents and share with parents is give them permission to feel. They're going to go through all types of emotions. They're going to be anxious. They're going to be worried. How do they connect or reconnect with their friends? And let them have those emotions. Because as parents, a lot of times we want to, everything's going to be okay. You're fine. But what you resist persists. So
wait, what you resist
persists.
I am quoting you on this, Dr. Liz.
Well, because if you don't allow them to process their being sad or upset, it's just gonna prolong it. So be there, validate their feelings, let them express it, but don't be judgmental. That's a big thing too, which is hard. All of these things are easier said than done. That's why in the book I give you step by step. I hold your hand step by step and give you the solutions you need so that your teens can stand strong despite all the challenges around them.
Wow. Dr. Liz, I need to keep you on here forever. Tell people how they can find your book, please.
Well, you can find, my book is on Amazon, but the easiest way is to go to my website. The easiest way to remember it is to go to my website, which is www.youarenotabadparent.com. And then you can get my book, and then also you can sign up to get a 10-minute audio, a free audio from me as well. So go to www.youarenotabadparent.com, and you'll, because I see this book as a guide that I really want to get in the hands of as many parents as possible, because it's a guide that will bring you closer to your teens as they seem to be getting farther and farther away.
Oh, thank you, Dr. Liz Henry. Thank you, Dr. Elizabeth Henry. You are just wonderful.
Oh, you're welcome. And have me on anytime.
I will.
I will. Q&A with Dr. Liz.
Yes, I am, because you've just been absolutely wonderful. You have an amazing afternoon. Someone, Phyllis Williams, says, Dr. Liz, thank you for your advice. Lots of things you have been saying, I walked that path too. Thank you, Dr. Liz.
Well, you are welcome. Thank you.
Have a
Take
good
care.
one.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Wow, that was so good. That was so good. I love young people. I love young people. You hear me talking about it all the time. It's a part of the reason why I'm going to tighten myself and get involved with the Youth Council in Philadelphia here to make sure that all the things that I was doing out in the counties, in the suburbs for 15, 16, 20 years, I can do it with the children, with the young people here now. And see how I can help the parents here too. I just love you all. Love you all. Thank you, Ebony Depressed. She says, great information. You are listening to The Source. You can call in now because until 3 o'clock, and then after 3:20, we can talk for the rest of the time. So if anybody wants to call in after 3:20, or if you want to call in after this break, you're more than welcome to. 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. We will be right back after these messages.
Hi, this is Samantha from Leo's Apparel on Germantown and Lehigh Ave. Open from 9:30 to 5:30 Monday through Saturday. We have the hottest selection of boys' dress suits and casual sportswear for boys sizes 2T to 20. Men, let me tell you, we got in a large shipment of straws from Stetson. We have new linen and dress suits. Biggest selection of Stacey Adams shoes. Get an extra WURD 10% discount.
Hello, I'm Jose Hernandez, and I have been using a wheelchair since my accident in 1995. I guess if I had one message for the general public, it would be that I appreciate your help, but please ask first. I know you mean well, but I've actually got everything under control. And if I don't, I'll ask for assistance. People with disabilities just want the same respect and consideration as everyone else.
This is a message from United Spinal Association. Download our disability etiquette booklet at unitedspinal.org.
Family Therapy Vignette Moments with Dr. Lucille Ijoy.
When we look around during this pandemic time, we have many things to consider with people with whom we are involved. A few of these things are religion, gender, politics, race. They're working or maybe not working. A lawyer to help with legal matters. Well, I tell you this, I gave myself an obituary party. I invited about 75 people, and the undertaker, I invited the undertaker to my party. Let me tell you what, we went to a hotel, we laughed, danced, had fun, and I explained why I gave myself this obituary party. What do you think about that? Would you give this kind of party for yourself? I tell you, it makes you feel so good to know that your family did not have to worry about certain important things while they're crying through their tears. I was celebrating my passing from this world while I am still living. That's called an obituary party.
The WURD Radio Newsletter, keeping you informed, engaged, and connected. Sign up by visiting WURDradio.com. Scroll to the bottom of the page and type your email address under Connect with Us. You'll receive the latest information on WURD Radio, messages from our president and CEO, Sarah Lomax Reese, exclusive articles and multimedia content, and resources. Stay informed with the WURD Radio Newsletter.
You're listening to The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders on WURD Radio. Streaming live on WURDradio.com and the WURD Radio app.
Welcome back to The Source. If you're just joining us, we just had on the air with me Dr. Elizabeth Henry, affectionately known as Dr. Liz, who has a book titled You Are Not a Bad Parent, A Pediatrician's Guide to Reducing Conflict and Connecting with Your Teens, which is now available on Amazon. You can go to youarenotabadparent.com to also order the book and to get a 10-minute free tutorial from her. When I tell you I love Dr. Liz, she says, give your teenagers permission to feel, right? And she says, what you resist is what will persist. Don't be judgmental. And I'm adding this one. Resist the urge to fix all of their problems. Please let them take accountability for their actions. It starts when they go into the refrigerator as a toddler and they break an egg. Show them how to get a paper towel to wipe that stuff up. And as they get older and they make more mistakes and do different things, hold them accountable. I am seeing too many grown behind people, 25, 35, 45, talking about you were supposed to fix my problems because you didn't give them the tools and the skills necessary to learn how to critical think and to solve their problems. And when they had to solve their own problems, they were less likely to make egregious mistakes because they knew they were going to be held accountable. See the difference? That's Andrea's tip for the day. All right, so let me see who I have here. Tom? Tom? I just want to make sure. Tom from South Philly, how are you?
You know, you took my words. I got a friend of mine, she's 89. She said, we got an excuse for
Yep.
You got an excuse for everything and not for nothing. You can't go every day, she said, talking about the white man. Because there's one for black people, she said, it'll be a whole lot of poor white folks. But I go like, I see people get this money. How come the trucks is running and people bringing salmon, Korean people, and they're bringing packages? They killed 30 people over the weekend. But you talk like the old Cecil Moore, Joe Rainey, 100 years ago. But I enjoy you so much because I be cussing at the radio. And you go like, where's everything got to be a problem? Could you say no? I have people say, I can't do it with my kids. But you can't do it with your kids, but the cop can. Well, how can that be? How can it be that I live in a neighborhood now, these white ladies run around half naked, jogging and all that. The black guys don't listen. A black woman go by and she speak, I didn't hear you. You got to speak, B. That's not the white woman.
Yeah.
Why is this?
Yeah.
Why is
there has to be a level of respect for our sisters.
I think the problem with this checks they're giving out. Not even 5% of that money. Black people don't see none of that. They got
you know, Tom, the smart people who got that money.
That's nothing in that.
Yeah, I know. The smart people who got that money spun that into gold and invested and did what they were supposed to do because it was supposed to give you a leg up, not for you to go buy shrimp scampi and whatever. And then I'm not saying, look, we all love good meals. I love a good meal. I'm Jamaican to my core, so I will make a good meal all day, every day. But when you see that what is happening right now in the country where we're getting this kind of money may not happen for a long time to come. So it's an opportunity. It's a window of opportunity for people to take it and to invest it. Do something other than just spending it, y'all. Please. I'm begging.
This woman, 89, she said, when you build a new house today, don't bother put a kitchenette on the house. I said, why not? She said, well, what? They ain't going in there.
Oh, man, I love to cook. Listen.
You think a Korean person would go in a black place and buy something? 90% of that money they're giving out, they go to the dope man or the poppy store or something. I was down
there's some people doing the good thing with the money, though. I don't want to walk away thinking.
What, you mean like 10%? I was down South Street yesterday.
It's subjective.
I was down South Street yesterday, and from river to river, I see Jesse Freeman, the Tribune paper at 6th to South Island. I didn't see 10 stores, 10%, from one river to the other, because my daughter is a jerk. She lives at 22nd, 27th and South, right off of South Street. There's big money there. But I'm like, oh, wait a minute. One lady, she got 4 kids. That means she's going to get $1,200 extra a month. Can't you keep pouring best to $1,000? And she said, money, I'm like when you put up with me. She said this. See, how come 6 set people get it, $14, whatever they get, $14, and all of them put a $1,000 bill, that's $14,000. They never had it before, so what they went missing, and they keep pouring. And start up something.
Yeah,
This teacher I know, the teacher I know, she moved to Jamaica. She sell water ice and pretzels, and all the black people in the neighborhood make for them.
Yeah.
She sell water ice and pretzels.
Water ice and pretzels, yeah.
And the people that sit retired school teacher.
Yeah.
It's just from Jamaica.
Yep. Because we don't listen. There's too many ways to make money for us to sit around and talk about how poor we are.
And
Honestly.
then they always talk about
Yep.
with a white guy. It wasn't a white guy with it. Some of us have the same problem.
Yeah.
I think you would listen to me. I mean, and talk to you.
You're welcome, sir. All right, take it easy. All right, bye-bye.
Yes,
Gary from Northern Liberties, how are you?
I'm doing well, and I just want to give a shout out to a few people. You, first of all, for having the other young lady with the book, and you telling your story about how you raised your young sons, and the great job that you did. You deserve a dozen roses today.
Oh,
and I tip my hat to you for that.
Thank you.
Because of the greatness that you bring to this radio station this time of day. It was well needed, and you fill that spot.
Thank you.
And I want to give a shout out to my wife. Lovely woman that I married 30-something years ago, and we're going to stay together for another 30 or 40. She has a book. She has a book. The name of her book is Where Are All My Friends?
Oh, I would love to talk to her.
You will, I'm sure, real soon.
Okay. Where are all my friends? Okay, is she near you, Gary?
She's listening to the radio right now. Probably. She's not with me, no.
I asked her to call into the radio show, please. I feel like I have a general idea, and if it is, then this is a well-needed book. Well, what she's talking about. Can you have her call into the radio show for me, please? And thank you for shouting her out, because there's so many brothers out here that are loving on their wives with due diligence. I can't even tell you how appreciative we are of you. My husband, a man among men. You hear me? I talk about him all the time. I fuss and I complain. He left his car. I took him to get his car repaired on Friday. He got home, left his house key at the and I'm like, what? Come on, black man. And then on Saturday, he said, you know, because I have to do an immense amount of traveling in August because I'm working on some projects. And then on Saturday, he said, and he left an envelope on the table. I said, what's this? He said, all the money that I make for summer camp, I'm putting it in your travel account. Except $1. That is my fee that I'm charging. I mean, when you got a brother that's just loving on you, I am a well-loved sister. Do you understand what I'm saying? And so I just want you all to know we love you all too. We do. And we see you. I want you to know we see you because you're out here without getting any kind of love oftentimes from folks because we just expect you to do what you're doing and we don't talk about, you know, the good that you do for us. Because you as brothers make our souls sing. I don't know what I would do without my husband right now. Do you hear what I'm saying to you?
Praise God for him. Yes.
Yep.
I'm glad you got a great one.
I did. It took me a while, but Father God, I thank you. I'm holding on to him to even when he's crazy.
and one more thing.
Yes, sir.
I'm waiting for your book.
Oh, you would not believe. So one is already out. I have 3 sitting here. I just reached out. Editor from Chicago just reached out to me. So I'm going to work with him. Because all the stuff that you all hear me talking about, I write even more than I talk. So it's going in.
I hope it's Third World Press.
Well, that's, yes, sir.
Yes, Third World Press.
Yes, sir. All right. You have a good one. And ask your wife to call in, please.
I sure will.
All right. Thank you. All right. Bye-bye.
Yep.
As I sit and look at this money tree hovering over my desk, and I look at Tyrone. Tyrone gave me a picture of his family when we were down at the Fresh Grocer on Monument Road. My office is filled with so many good things, you know, warrior of light and love, work hard, dream big. Did I say that? Like just all sorts of impactful things in here to keep me motivated as I get up every day to figure out the best way to give you all what you need. You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. We will be right back after these messages.
Are you an educator looking for a life-changing opportunity? Youth Build Philly Charter School might be the home for you. Apply to Youth Build to join a family of educators dedicated to learning and growing with young people. Check out current opportunities at youthbuildphilly.org or follow them on social media at YouthBuildPHL. Join Youth Build today. Youth Build is now accepting applications for the class of 2021.
The holistic colonoscopy. No IV sedation. Your colonoscopy is due. You don't have someone to drive you home. You don't want to drink the prep. You don't want to be sedated with the Michael Jackson drug propofol. Does that sound like you? Call Blake Gastroenterology at 215-849-4902. Visit the website www.jsblake.com and make your appointment today. Drive yourself home after the holistic colonoscopy.
For the past 10 years, Comcast has been helping students get ready. We've connected 5 million students from low-income families to low-cost, high-speed internet. We're working with both nonprofit partners and city leaders to create over 1,000 Wi-Fi connected lift zones in community centers nationwide. And now we're committing $1 billion to reach 50 million people with the connectivity, skills, training, and the resources they need to succeed in a digital world. Learn more at comcast.com/education.
My mother was always very active and independent, and she was familiar with her neighborhood. But one day, she stopped at the stop sign for much longer than usual. She wasn't even really sure where she was at.
It's important for you to talk to someone about it. I felt so much better after my son told me, Mom, we'll figure it out.
When something feels different, it could be Alzheimer's. Now is the time to talk. Visit alz.org/ourstories to learn more. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
This is not a fad for us.
We will not resume our regular programming when things die down. We're not black to help our bottom line or because it's politically correct. We're not joining a fight. This is our people. Black lives have always mattered here. We are
Undeniably,
indefatigably, unapologetically, permanently Black Talk Media.
Waffle Sanders on WURD Radio. Streaming live on WURDRadio.com and the WURD Radio app.
Welcome back to The Source. So look, you all have been talking a mile a minute on Facebook and on YouTube. I see I've got my little 4 screens up just going back and forth. And I just want to say thank you. I am acknowledging all your notes that you wrote. I appreciate you. And, you know, it's so funny on this side of parenting where I'm still a mother, still a parent, but in a different way. It's nice to know that the sacrifices and the steps that I took back then is paying off in just a wonderful way. And so, you know, you all were just amazing. Patricia Wright said children need structure along with patience, and love. So true. They were like, preach, mother. Phyllis Williams said, good afternoon. Andrea, just turned you on about 5 minutes ago, and I love that sermon. Thank you. True spoken words. And good afternoon to your producer, Word family, and listeners. All have a blessed day. Y'all, I couldn't do this without Mike. Like Mike, if I could be like Mike, I want to be like Mike. Listen, Mike texts me and goes, Andrea, fix your face. You've got a whole thundercloud, my sister. I got you. He's just wonderful. Him and Brianna. Oh, I don't know what I would do without the two of them. Lania Porter says, food for thought. If children are a product of what they are around, think about the violence our babies are exposed to and the violence and the blood in the streets. That was the other thing my son said to me. I couldn't figure out why you had us growing up around all these white people. He did. He said that to me. I couldn't figure out. He said, and then I realized you were really straddling the line between making sure that we were safe. He said, because we could have been caught up in the violence, right? And so he said, I understand that now. He said, but for a while I was like, why we are around all, and as he grew older, he learned as he went to college and he's interacting with people and he's a team leader on his job and he's creating all these things. He's learned how to work with all kinds of people. He said, but we realized you really you worked to keep us safe. So thank you for bringing that up, Linnea, because that was one of the things he talked about. Teresa Atwood said, amen, Andrea. Parenting made me go back to college in order to provide my child with a good education. The streets became too dangerous with gangbangers when she became a teenager. A Christian boarding academy was the safest option. I received the apology call when my daughter became a mentor and began to experience the things she did to me that were quite frustrating due to last-minute demands. Phyllis Williams said, that's why they put erasers on pens to correct. So when you make a mistake, and we all do in trying to raise our children, hold your head, get back on the track, and start your engine again. Let me see. Oh, you're welcome, Mike. I love me some Mike. Love me some Mike. Teresa Atwood said the best way to get a child interested in reading is to read books to them starting at the toddler stage. So I'm going to take you one up further, Teresa. I started reading with to my children when they were in utero, while I was pregnant with them. And so when they were babies, even if I didn't know if they understood, they both developed, the younger one especially, his vocabulary is amazing. The one that didn't want to, that was bored in school. Yeah. So yes, Ebony DeBress said, thank you. You are so welcome. Phyllis says, Vicky Leach on WURD says, as she ends her show, be yourself. Everyone else is taken. I see that you're letting them in, Michael. So thank you. Let me just make sure, Mike. Okay. All right. Let them in for me, please. Phyllis Williams says, Dr. Liz, thank you for your advice. Lots of things you have been saying. I walked that path too. Great information. Linnea says, I needed Dr. Liz when my older son was a teen. He didn't even have a name in the house from ages 14 to 19. He was referenced as that boy child in the house. Gloria Gainey says, Dr. Liz would be a great asset for a segment in the fall to help the parents with re-socializing of their children as they start back to school in this upcoming challenging new year. Yeah. Oh, I love you all. Phyllis says, I agree. I've listened to Andrea lots of times. She is a great guest and she gives great word of wisdom. I love you all. I love you, love you, love you, love you, love you. I see what you all are here doing. Tiffany McIntyre says, I agree. I had that moment when my son was in junior high. I just cried. You always wonder. You know what? Children will take it to the nth degree and back. But come on, I've got my next guest on, Miss Pretty Shona Williams. Shona Levy, CEO of Hearts for Humanity Community Development Corporation. Hearts for Humanity Community Development Corporation is hosting a shoe drive through August 8th. All footwear for men, women, and children are certainly welcome. These donations will be distributed to more than 22 countries throughout the world that have been heavily impacted by recent catastrophic events. Good afternoon, Shona. How are you?
I am doing well. I'm doing well. Thank you so much for allowing me the opportunity to come on and speak with you and your guests. I appreciate that so much.
Welcome. You're so welcome. Because, you know, if it's about helping people, as soon as you sent it to me, I was like, come on, let's be about it and do what we need to do. So tell us about Hearts of Humanity. How are you involved with Hearts for Humanity?
Well, it started out as a small project with some community members in Temple University area, actually. Partnered together with North Central Philadelphia CDC, a couple of other really wonderful organizations like Earth Code, just to help build these vacant lots up into lucrative socioeconomic opportunities for our community. You know, the vacant lots are blighted, they're trashed, they're not appreciated, but this is land that could be turned over to, you know, just to make an impact on our communities, especially our youth. You know, so with the COVID and everyone being inside, it allowed people to get out into nature. You know, even with social distancing, gardening is so very, very important. And it just allows us.
Do you follow me on Facebook?
I don't.
Facebook friends?
No. We have to get there. We have to get there.
We must. COVID hit. And I went out into my garden. You should see the big fat tomatoes, the big fat sweet peppers, the hot peppers. I'm plucking onions out of my garden right now. I mean, the amount of, we had corn in 2020, big old corn stalks. We were driving by, go, is that corn in your garden? Collard greens, callaloo, garlic, all of that mixed in with the flowers. A peach tree sits in my garden. So, you know, it doesn't require a whole lot of, I'm trying to tell you. So you and I are on the right space, and it is so cathartic. It is so therapeutic. So you have community gardening spaces all around the city, or just in specific spots?
Well, in specific sites, right now we're in North Central Philadelphia, and also we have one site in West Philadelphia. But we're reaching out to organizations, to our council people, to allow us to branch out in different sites, like West Philadelphia, Baltimore Avenue is being overdeveloped. You know, as we speak, it's being overdeveloped. So we're trying to gather strength in our, you know, in our political arena, you know. So when I saw you, I wanted to connect with you. I know you have a very strong voice. You reached us here. You were very powerful here in Pottstown for us, you know, when you were here. And we never did let you go. So here I am back again, you know, with the conversation that I know that, you know, you can make an impact with them. We can all, you know, even from our own homes, gather up your shoes, gather up your boots, your slippers, your sandals, and make an impact in somebody's life. Be a blessing.
My husband is teaching right now, but if he was listening to this, he'd say, oh, come. We got about 500 pairs here. Andrea has 2 feet. And when all of 2020, I did not buy a single pair of shoes. Didn't buy it in 2021 because it made me realize how many pairs of shoes do we need?
Yeah. So, and when you look at poverty and poverty and on an international basis, you understand what it means to be poor. Here, it's bad. Okay. But when you go to other countries, you don't have health care, you don't have housing, you don't have clean water, you know, things like that. And we need to think about it on a broader basis like that. So we make an impact in someone's life by doing something as simple as cleaning out your closet. And then we gather that income from that fundraiser, and we make an impact in our own communities, because it takes money to raise gardens. Okay, we have to do the raised beds, we have to clear out the lots. We've been working with Pennsylvania Horticultural Society for the last 4 years on different projects. Like we have a stretch and fly garden at 16th and Susquehanna. And we have a faith garden, you know, also on Dolphin, not too far from there. But it just creates opportunities to clean up these lots, give our communities something better to look at and work with, because they can be used as networking sessions, you know, sectors also. So we have educational opportunities, we have opportunity to get better control of our health. Because what comes from the earth and from the garden really is meant to restore your health and wellness. You know, so it allows us to do that as well as network with one another.
Question: how can they donate the shoes? Because I literally have 3 piles just sitting in big bags that I'm not even gonna look inside of them. Praise the Lord. And I'm just gonna hand them over to you. How can we get the shoes to you?
Actually, I'm reaching out to some larger organizations. Hopefully, we'll get some feedback from some organizations in Philadelphia for drop-off locations. You know, so please connect with me. Connect with me if you are interested in being a drop-off location and processing these shoes, because they have to be paired, laced up, rubber band together so they don't lose their pairs by the time they get over.
Let me stop you. There are many large organizations that have within their formal structure volunteering with their employees. Comcast comes to mind, Independence Blue Cross Blue Shields, Wells Fargo. I know this because I'm a part of the National Cares Mentoring Movement, Big Brothers Big Sisters. Many of you have offices in Philadelphia. If you are willing to have your employees volunteer, if you're willing to be a drop-off point for Hearts for Humanity, CDC, please reach out. Tell me how they can find you, please.
The number is 877-460-4160. 877-460-4160.
All right, so please call this number, 877-460-4160. 4160. And in these large organizations that I just named, you always have a designated person who is in charge of volunteerism. Comcast has a huge program that I know. My sons volunteered in Comcast volunteerism program through their employee network. So if you are willing to be a place at drop-off place for these shoes, please call 877-460-4160. In the meantime, while we're waiting for this, because August 8th is around the corner, how can we get what we have to you?
Well, I am a really good team of one, and I have an SUV.
Father.
You call that number, and I will be on the road. I have been collecting so many shoes now. People have been very, very generous, and I appreciate all of you.
Okay.
But if you would like to donate cash, for example, you can always Cash App.
What's the Cash App?
Blessed be Yah, number 2. BLESSED YAH, number 2. And that's the Cash App. If you would like me to come pick up, have no problems doing that. We just have to get you in the schedule, okay? Call that number and we can contact you right away, get you in the schedule, and be able to do porch pickups. We do porch pickups also, so you don't have to.
Okay. And if someone wants to volunteer to help you to pick up these shoes, do they still call that 877 number?
Yep, you can call the 877.
Yeah, because here's the thing, Shauna, and not to cut you off, I've been saying to my folks in Philadelphia and in the counties and even outside of Philadelphia, in order for us to be impactful, we have to turn around and help each other, right? So I wish I was working with a group of teenagers, because I would have them and their mamas and their papas. Let's go. This is the weekend. She's going to give us a list of where the shoes are to be picked up, and we'll go pick up the shoes. That's how we create not only a feel-good environment, but teaching our children, our young people, how to give back to their communities. 877-460-4160. I'm going to look for, because I know you sent me the flyer. Let me just, and then I'm going to pivot just a little bit. So the shoe drive, Pottstown drop-off location is Grumpy's, Danny B. Funky, the High Street Terminal, Simply Phenomenal, Dance Company, Thrift Shop, JJ Radigan? Radigan, okay, Kiki's, The Alley, or call for pickup. Footwear gently used new through August 8th. Please contact 877-460-4160. My people are going to call you. But I'm going to ask you all, if you're calling, please call to volunteer too, to help to pick up shoes. I've got like 8 jobs, literally. Otherwise, I'd be out there volunteering with you. But I would ask people who have time, especially our darling seniors who have a little bit of extra time on their hands, if they could help by volunteering to be a pickup person for these shoes. This is awesome stuff.
And then also we need volunteers to process the shoes. They have to be rubber banded together. The shoelaces have to be tied together so that they don't lose their pair. We're bagging in bags of 25 pairs per bag. And then you just tie the bag once, but inside that bag, we want shoes to make sure that they don't get lost. So whenever they reach their destination, they're usable.
So if you have young people who are bored at home because they didn't get a summer job, I'm going to ask you to also volunteer them to process the shoes, to tie the shoes together and put them in bags of 25. I'm sure she'll let you know exactly where to meet her to get that done. Again, the phone number is 877-460-4160. The last question I'm going to have for you, that is aside from the shoes, because I'm a huge gardener, how can people volunteer to help clean the lots and turn over the land? And
yes, that is another leg of Hearts for Humanity. So that's the same telephone number. Please do give us a call, because we need volunteers for this area, especially at our Belmont and Girard Hearts. This is called the Philadelphia Food Haven Project. Philly Food Haven Project started in 2019, along with the Cancer Be Gone series. So we want to be sure that we have enough volunteers, because we have owners of lots who are getting food and bringing the food to their lot and offering it to the community. But the community members need to clean, and they need to be able to make sure that the food gets tossed away. We need to be able to make sure we have a weeding schedule, and the gardening and things like that. And also for our Stretch and Fly Youth Business Garden, because those things that are produced.
What is Stretch and Fly?
Stretch and Fly is a leg of North Central Philadelphia CDC's business. So they work with the youth. And they've had this going on for, I think, the last 5 years. So it's a youth program, and they get together and they teach the children about how to sell produce, how to turn over a profit for their work. Okay, so you put work into a garden and you get something out of it. You get something out of it. So we want to be sure we have volunteers to be able to manage all of that, because fresh food doesn't last long, as we know.
No, it doesn't. But it's so good for you. And with all the crap that is being put into our food now, being able to grow it in our own garden and eating it, it's just better than anything you could ever do. The number is 877-460-4160. I want to thank you. And don't call me when everybody start calling you about dropping off all their shoes now. But if you please volunteer, please get your young people to volunteer. If you're home and you're working from home for COVID and you have a little bit of extra time and you love shoes, come on out and help them to process these shoes. If you are a large corporation and you'd like to be a drop-off point where your employees can volunteer and process the shoes, please call 1-877-460-4160. Shona, thank you. Thank you, my sister.
Thank you. Look forward to seeing you soon, too.
Yes,
Take
ma'am.
care.
I'll pop up somewhere, I'm sure. Have a good one. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye-bye.
So again, that was Hearts for Humanity. The phone number to call if you want to volunteer. They're having a shoe drive, drop off, and somebody over here, Dwayne Wallace, says, my wife has way too many shoes. I think all men are saying that right about now. Oh my gosh, when COVID was going on and I was, wearing a pair of shoes and then leaving it on the porch, all of a sudden we looked up and there were all these shoes. My husband's like, you have 2 feet. Why do you have so many shoes out here? So the shoe drive, shoes, sneakers, sandals, and boots, footwear that is gently used or new through August 8th. Please join the laces together when you're donating the shoes, and contact 877-460-4160. And they have plenty of drop-off locations in Pottstown. Call the number and they will let you know. Phyllis, don't laugh. Phyllis Williams is laughing at me. I'm telling you, Phyllis. And then when I finally put on a pair of heels and stepped out of my door last week or the week before to have a meeting, my foot went click, 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 click. My feet were like, what's this? What fresh hell is this? I'm accustomed to sneakers and flats and COVID. And I did my radio show bare feet. I'm like, right now I'm dressed up. I have no shoes on. So my feet are just not happy about having to put heels back on. So I'm going to have to adjust a few things. And plus I'm not so young anymore anyway. So here we go. All right. So we're going to take another quick break, y'all. If you want to call in, please do so. You can. 215-634-8065, and the tip line for Philly Police. If you want to call in to report a crime, it is 215-686-8477. I'm going to read a quick article for you, and then we are going to move on. Sometimes I wonder what in the Sam Hill is all of this stuff. All the advertisements now on the articles is so, ooh. Study finds that police officers speak to black drivers less respectfully than white drivers. This was written by J.L. Cook for The Root. An American Psychological Association analysis of body camera footage from more than 100 police officers found that during traffic stops, officers tended to speak to black men in a less respectful and less friendly tone than they typically did with white men. That might not come off as a surprise if you're black or if you have heard stories of some black people's interaction with the police during traffic stops, many of which are disproportionately fatal when involving black motorists. But, as reported by the Los Angeles Times, these accounts are now backed by research from the Times. It really reflects the amount of work that law enforcement needs to continue to do, said Diane Goldstein, Executive Director of the nonprofit Law Enforcement Action Partnership. We have to recognize the problem. We have to acknowledge our unconscious biases in these types of situations, and we have to acknowledge the role that race plays in the criminal justice system. This study, which was published last Monday, builds off of previous research that found the language used by police in Oakland, California, was less respectful towards Black residents when compared to white ones. According to the Times, the new study focuses more now on tone than word choice. All right, one second, Michael. The scientists analyzed hundreds of audio clips, each roughly 10 seconds long, from routine traffic stops of Black or white men. The researchers filtered out the high frequencies of the sound clips, which essentially rendered the clips unintelligible, but left the tone of voice intact. They also masked the drivers' voices with brown noise so that anyone hearing the clip would not be able to guess the motorist's race. The researchers then asked more than 400 people, a diverse group of white, Latino, Asian, and Black volunteers, to listen to the clips and rate the officer's tone of voice. Across the board, clips of officers speaking to Black men got lower marks for friendliness, respectfulness, and ease than those of officers speaking to white men, even though the listeners were not aware of the driver's race. On a scale of 1 to 6, the average score of an officer toward white drivers was 3.72, slightly positive, while the average score towards Black drivers was 3.5, neither positive nor negative. The perception of the listeners remained the same regardless of their age, race, gender, and political orientation, according to the Times. So what should the main takeaway be from all of this? Tracy Mears, a Yale University professor that specializes in citizen perception of police, told the Times that while the difference between the scores wasn't huge, the key thing to know is that there are differences that can be detected. Well, I'm going to take a break, and then we'll come back. I'll finish this, and I'll let you all know. To the caller that called in and asked Mike for that number again, it's for the gently used shoes. It's 1-877-460-4160. Again, that number is 877-460-4160. You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. We will be right back after these messages.
What's up, Philly? It's Solomon. With so much uncertainty surrounding the upcoming school year, now is the time to take charge of your child's education and give them the tools to make learning fun and safe. Check out Commonwealth Charter Academy, which can make a difference in your child's life. Commonwealth Charter Academy, or CCA, is a K-12 public cyber charter school with nearly 20 years of experience providing a flexible, stable online education in the comfort of your home. Enroll today at ccaeducate.me. Your child will receive 1. A world-class accredited education streamed directly into your home at no cost to you. 2. A laptop, headphones, assistance with accessing the internet, and learning materials all provided at no cost to you. 3. A safe learning environment with no bullying or security concerns. Join the nearly 2,500 students from Philly who already attend CCA. The school year begins September 8th. Enroll now at ccaeducate.me.
Students, parents, teachers, guardians, 100 Black Men of Philadelphia is offering free mentoring programs this summer to help provide an alternative to the gun violence plaguing our city. Our programs build character, body, and mind of our boys 1st to 12th grade through paid high school internships, book clubs, fishing, physical fitness, and more. Register today at www.100blackmenphilly.org and click events or call 267-258-2900.
Whatever the world brings, we're always moving forward. Reinventing business, reimagining home, and re-emphasizing community. At PICO, we're redefining support, finding new ways to provide financial assistance, supporting opportunities for good jobs, and uplifting our communities. We're by your side through it all, because whatever the future holds, you're ready to take it on, and we're ready to power it. Find the support you need at pico.com.
You're never completely ready to adopt a teen. For late nights writing English papers.
For your teen's music taste.
For dinners, where they talk more on their phone than with you.
For the first time, they call you Mom.
You're never completely ready to adopt a teen, and you can't imagine the reward.
To learn more about adopting a teen, visit adoptuskids.org.
Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Are you looking to hire diverse talent? WURD has got you covered. We just launched a brand new job portal to help connect you with diverse talent in Philadelphia and beyond. If you would like to have your jobs featured on our job portal, give us a call at 215-425-7875 or send us an email at sales@wordradio.com. Check out the job portal today on our livelihood website at wordworks.com. That's WURDworks.com and click jobs.
You're listening to The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders on WURD Radio. Streaming live on WURDradio.com and the WURD Radio app.
Welcome back to The Source. Mark Benjamin, did you just send me a Facebook request? Put in, because, sometimes people send me all kinds of things, and oftentimes it's a computer. So just let me know if it's you, and I'll accept it right on the spot. All right. We are back to this article that talks about the fact that police officers treat black people a little differently than they treat white folks. Charles Ramsey, and again, this is a time when you can call in as much as you want to. You're welcome, Shona Levy. Welcome. You're so welcome. You can call in 215-634-8065, where I'm happy to talk to all of you. So I'm back to reading this article. It says here, Charles Ramsey, a former Washington, D.C. That was you, Mark Benjamin. Okay, I got you. A former Washington, D.C. police chief who now works as a law enforcement analyst for CNN argued that the tone police officers take during traffic stops depends on various circumstances, including whether they were pulled over for a minor traffic violation or because they were intoxicated. He added that officers should never be disrespectful. For this study, only routine traffic stops were used for the analysis. No arrests were made during any of the interactions. Nicholas Camp, an assistant professor of organizational studies for the University of Michigan and lead researcher for the study, said this to CNN. One of the most important tools that officers have at their disposal with the public is their communication, Camp said. Communication and this interpersonal aspect of policing is undervalued and sometimes overlooked. We know from previous research that people base their trust in law enforcement based on their personal experiences, Camp added. We show that these are institutional interactions, that things like an officer's language or tone of voice, just very human parts of their communication, matter for community members' trust in police. It'll definitely take much, much more work to rectify many black people's distrust of the police. But if they're going to start somewhere, being nicer during traffic stops might be one of many good places to begin with. So that was a good article from The Roots. I just want to make sure that I'm doing so. Mark Benjamin, confirm. That was good. So we're now friends, sir. Let's see. Over the weekend, Biden-Harris protect voting rights to honor John Lewis. This is written by, now I don't see who wrote this. I like to give people their credit. It's on the Tribune, but I don't know if it came from somewhere else. So let's see. President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris on Saturday both marked the one-year anniversary of United States Rep. John Lewis' death by urging Congress to honor the legacy of the civil rights icon by enacting laws to protect voting rights. Biden said he often reflects on the last conversation he and his wife Jill had with Lewis days before the Georgia congressman died. Instead of answering our concerns for him, he asked us to remain focused on the unfinished work, his life's work of healing and uniting this nation, Biden said in a statement. The president said the unfinished work includes building an economy that respects the dignity of working people with good jobs and good wages, and ensuring equal justice under law is real in practice and not just a promise etched in stone. Perhaps most of all, it means continuing the cause that John was willing to give his life for, protecting the sacred right to vote, Biden said. Not since the civil rights movement of the 1950s and 60s have we seen such unrelenting attacks on voting rights and the integrity of our elections. As you are all aware, he was here, President Biden was here in Philadelphia at the Constitution Center last Thursday. And in fact, let me just tell you, because, you know, since I write all the time, let me just make sure that I put this on here, because I do carry this stuff. I have it in here somewhere, because he talked about what was going on in the country, what we should do. As you can hear me turning the pages, let me tell you, man. He said it's not just about voting, but who gets to count your vote. It is election subversion. It is pernicious, yes. Want to tell you your vote doesn't count to make their preferred candidate win. He says we need to forge coalitions, that the whole world is watching, that he wasn't being sentimental, not preaching, just giving it straight, that there's an unfolding assault on our democracy. And who we are. He said we should be alarmed. John Lewis said that freedom is not a state, it is an act. And he made sure, because I take my notes, that Vice President Harris will lead the fight to protect our democracy, starting with H.R. 1 and For the People Act and the John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act. And so, look, he says, our votes are being challenged. It's recounted three times in Georgia. And the big lie is just that, a big lie. In America, if you lose, try again. You don't call facts fake. That was President Joe Biden when he was here last Thursday at the Constitution Center, talking about the fact that our democracy was in peril because they have enacted so many laws. So yeah, I'm reading some stuff that's going on here. But so this is an article that they talked about Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, Vice President Harris, talked about what his life was for. Biden said the attacks include the January 6th insurrection and lies about the 2020 election. Lewis was a high-profile civil rights activist before he won a Georgia congressional seat as a Democrat in 1986. Harris said in her own statement Saturday that he was an American hero. Now, I want you all to remember that John Lewis was beaten within an inch of his life as they crossed the Edmund Pettus Bridge, one of the places that I'm going to visit in August as I work on this project that I'm putting together, just trying to engage and enlighten people about where we are. Lewis was 80 when he died, months after announcing he had advanced pancreatic cancer. He was the youngest and last survivor of the Big Six civil rights activists, a group led by the Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. that had the greatest impact on the movement. Just talked about this. Lewis was best known for leading some 600 protesters in the Bloody Sunday March across the Edmund Pettus Bridge in Selma, Alabama in 1965. Alabama state troopers beat Lewis and other activists who were marching for voting rights that day, and we still are having this conversation about voting rights. Crazy. So yeah, we're there with that. Again, if you want to call in, please don't wait till the last second, because we only have 20-something minutes left in the show. 215-634-8065. Afia Tucker, Tribune correspondent, wrote this. The Philadelphia NAACP elects new leadership. I talked about this at the beginning of the show. And here they go again. Come on, Tribune. Why do I have to keep logging in? You know what? There you go. Log in. Okay. The Philadelphia Sunday Sun publisher Catherine Hicks was elected to serve as the Philadelphia NAACP chapter president on Saturday, marking the end of what some had considered a tumultuous period for the Philadelphia civil rights group. The chapter had an in-person election for newly elected officers and executive committee members of the Philadelphia NAACP at the group's headquarters in Nicetown and Germantown Avenue. To cast a ballot, members had to provide identification and must have had been a member for at least the past 30 days. with all of the positions unopposed. The results were foreseen before its recording. The time is now. Our city is in crisis. The leaders of the NAACP Philadelphia chapter are focused on the serious challenges ahead. In the coming weeks, we will be addressing educational equity, financial literacy, Black home ownership and entrepreneurship, and violence, Hicks said in an official press statement. Hicks and her new team of elected officials and the chapter's committee members will be installed Sunday. That's what I went to yesterday, and live did a Facebook Live from the Sunday Sun page so that everybody could see it. First vice president is J. Lewis Felton, who is an incumbent. Second vice president is Melvin Prince Jonakin. Third Vice President Cameron Bonds, who was also an incumbent. Secretary Shirley Roberts, who was an incumbent. Assistant Secretary Chandra Deal, currently serving as the chapter's executive committee. Treasurer is Shirley Jordan, who is an incumbent. And Assistant Treasurer is Shirley Williams, who is an incumbent. Our new leadership brings diverse experience and a solid network of relationships and partnerships. We will expect to be held accountable to the people of the city, and we will hold others accountable as well, said Hicks. What I loved when I was there yesterday was noticing that there were a mixture of younger people, middle-aged people, older people, because, you know, oftentimes when you walk into the NAACP meetings, the younger folks are not invited or to be engaged. I was a member of the Willow Grove chapter of the NAACP for years, and for years I kept saying, how can we become more involved other than just showing up for meetings? And no one said, you know, other than, you know, help with the fundraiser once a year and put a basket together. We had so many great ideas that were just not taken to task. So, yeah, there we go. Viola, Delaware, line 1. How are you, darling?
I'm great. I'm so surprised to get through so quick, but it's fine.
You called at the right time.
Listen, you know, when you made that comment, I said, let me call right now. I told Mike that. I said, let me call right now before another call comes through. But I am so happy for that lady that called about needing the shoes.
Yeah.
I am packing up stuff. I done packed up a whole 12-piece setting of china in a box. And, you know, I got to get rid of some stuff, as you say.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And I just want to say one thing based on our conversations with children.
Yes.
A dear friend of mine, we knew each other back in 1968. And when she came to my house, I think my daughter, one of them was either 14 years old and the other 3 are older. Mm-hmm. And she just came in and she said, you know, Vi, she said, sometimes being a single parent has its advantages. Mm-hmm. And I said, okay. And I understood exactly what she said. Mm-hmm. Different people loved my husband as well as I did. And he was a fantastic provider. But he was the yes man. And any time that he needed to say no to something, go ask your mother. And I said, okay, go ask me, because I had no problem saying no.
Right.
And one of my daughters just recently spilled out something to me, and I said, ooh, I said, you've had something that you've been wanting to say for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
I said, but guess what? It's okay. I'm not angry about what you're saying. But she said I was mean.
Mm-hmm.
And my oldest daughter, who was my only child for 6 years, she would always say, yeah, but it's always your way. I said, oh, no, Dana, it's not my way.
Mm-hmm.
I said, there's 2 ways about everything. It's the right way and the wrong way. I said, it's not my way. I said, but when you become an adult, have your children, you have to
understand. Mm-hmm.
Anything that you didn't like that I, you know, put to you, you have the option to change. And they all have changed and all done differently.
Yep.
But yet, I have not agreed with some of their ideas. Because based on their age and their children, you know, there's something. And I was the best thing that I could be based on being a oldest grandchild and getting married, because it was important for me to get married and have all of my children by one man, and I did.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
But guess what? Did I still wind up with all these different personalities? So each
there you go. There you go.
Lord have mercy. What would I be in if I had 4 different days? And I tell you, I my husband worked, but I tell you, it was a job. It really was. And there's times when I feel as though that I tell him, I say, oh my goodness, if I could just be a fly on the wall when certain things are going on.
Yes.
And my second oldest daughter will be 45 tomorrow, and she lives in the house that she was raised in. My husband and I sold her and her husband our house.
Yes.
So that's where I go back to sometimes when I stay at her house.
Right.
But I find I have a few friends that don't have husbands or boyfriends, and that's where I stay because I'd rather not stay at none of their houses. I'm sorry, because no. I am how I live my life, and they thought that I was going to move back to Philly after my husband passed away, and I said, oh no, for what? No, indeed, I don't need to move back to Philly because I need somewhere to park my car.
Yes.
And I'd be able to be by myself when I want to and go where I want to go. So I'm scheduling to hit the road sometime in August because I have to have a minor procedure. It's not minor because anytime you go in anesthesia, it's major. But I have to have a procedure done in September. So I didn't want to close out my summer without doing anything. So I plan on making me a couple of quick trips.
Yeah, so you're doing them in August? Do you know where you're going yet?
Well, I have a sister that lives in Milwaukee, but I would like to go to Arkansas down to the hot springs. And I have another friend that lives in Tallahassee, Florida, but I'd like to go cross country because I have a friend that lives in Arizona in Mesa, and she lives by herself. And she was a breast cancer, recipient. So I have a couple of places that I could hop just along anywhere because my husband and I did it back in 2003 or 2005. We went cross country and moved this lady's furniture in a Penske truck and pulled her car in the tow. And I drove, and my husband drove. And he would say, you got to watch how you swing. I said, you know what, just leave me alone. I'm all right.
Sounds like my husband. Hold on one second. Hold on one second, Viola. I've got to take a quick break. Hold on, okay? All right. You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. If you are hearing the sound of my voice, I am Andrea Lawful Sanders, and we will be right back after these messages.
For the past 10 years, Comcast has been helping students get ready. We've connected 5 million students from low-income families to low-cost, high-speed internet. We're working with both nonprofit partners and city leaders to create over 1,000 Wi-Fi connected lift zones in community centers nationwide. And now we're committing $1 billion to reach 50 million people with the connectivity, skills, training, and the resources they need to succeed in a digital world. Learn more at comcast.com/education.
Hey WURD family, did you hear? It's official. The Colorectal Cancer Alliance just announced the new age for colon cancer screenings has been officially lowered to age 45 for everyone. If you are 45 or older, it's time to get screened. Go to WURDradio.com and click on the Go to Know banner to register for your free at-home screening test. Did you know colon cancer is largely preventable with on-time screening? And there's a 90% survival rate when caught early. African Americans are 20% more likely to get colon cancer and about 40% more likely to die from it than most other groups. So for the next 3 months, you can go to WURDradio.com and click on the Go to Know banner for your free at-home screening test. A screening navigator will contact you to ask a few questions and help you get screened. It's that simple. Again, just go to WURDradio.com, click on the Go to Know banner, and fill out the form to request your free at-home screening test. Go to Know today.
The holistic colonoscopy. No IV sedation. Your colonoscopy is due. You don't have someone to drive you home. You don't want to drink the PrEP. You don't want to be sedated with the Michael Jackson drug propofol. Does that sound like you? Call Blake Gastroenterology at 215-849-4902. Visit the website www.jsblake.com and make your appointment today. Drive yourself home after the holistic colonoscopy.
Join Nick Taliaferro Wednesday, July 21st at 5 p.m. for a very special simulcast conversation on WURD and WVON Radio in Chicago. Hosted by WURD's own Nick Taliaferro and WVON's Matt McGill and Kimberly E. Goen on the impact of violence in Philadelphia and Chicago. That's Wednesday, July 21st at 5 p.m. exclusively on WURD Radio and WURDradio.com. Simulcast on WVON. Two of the only black-owned talk radio stations in the nation join forces for a powerful and timely conversation.
The WURD Radio newsletter, keeping you informed, engaged, and connected. Sign up by visiting WURDradio.com. Scroll to the bottom of the page and type your email address under Connect with Us. You'll receive the latest information on WURD Radio, messages from our president and CEO, Sarah Lomax Reese, exclusive articles and multimedia content, and resources. Stay informed with the WURD Radio newsletter.
You're listening to The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders on WURD Radio. Streaming live on WURDradio.com and the WURD Radio app.
Welcome back to the final segment of The Source. If you're just joining us, I have Ms. Viola from Delaware on the line, and we're talking about her driving across the country, something she and I have in common. The very first time she called The Source, I was like, stop it, because it's something that I do. I'm getting ready to spend the whole month of August, Miss Viola. I'll be gone.
Well,
I'll be absolutely gone.
We can probably meet up somewhere.
Yes.
But
So
I'm delivering a watermelon to one of my senior friends that work here at CBS in Rehoboth. And I picked up watermelons from the watermelon man up on Belfield Avenue. I got four watermelons, 2 cantaloupes, and 2 canary melons from him 11:30 at night. And I mean, he was parked in the real boonies. But I told him that if I wasn't used to going to West Virginia being in the boonies, I might have not taken that ride. But I picked up my watermelons because he was on his way to Philly, and I said, I got to get my watermelons before he gets to Philly. And I picked them up. I ate one of the canary melons the minute I got in the house at 11:30. It was about 12:30 when I got back home. But that's what I do. So the lady with the shoes and all, I will make sure I have them packed up because I have some that I was given to the Purple Heart people that come to your house and pick up.
Right.
So after hearing that, everything happens for a reason.
Right.
So therefore, I will be sure to bring shoes to her instead of giving them to the Purple Heart people because sometimes they don't really know.
So Viola, Ebony DeBrett says she wants to be like you when she grows up.
Well, I keep saying I want to be like you when I grow up.
Listen, I takes no short. Listen, Viola, I'm at my freest and at my most creative when I get in my car, kiss my husband goodbye, and I'm gone. I have no set agenda. At this time, I'm working on a project for an organization because they've been following me for the last 3 years, and they're like, there's something unique about what you do. First of all, we're 2 black women just out here doing what we do, traveling across the country, but we've met so many great people along the way. And so I just added Arkansas Hot Springs to my list to visit while I am out there trampoozing. Oh yeah, I'm out. I am out.
Those hot springs, my daughter and I went to hot springs in North Carolina, and I've been dying to go back again. But when I came through coming from Texas, I stopped in Arkansas, and I said, oh my God, the hot springs. Well, they closed at 5 o'clock, and it was like 10 minutes to 5, so I couldn't go in.
Hey. So Viola, I did the hot springs in New Mexico. Listen, man.
Oh my gosh.
Listen, Viola, when we came out of them hot springs, I said, Father, I stretch. It was amazing.
People that don't want to get in water, they don't know what they're missing.
Ooh, babe. Listen, and your whole body feels so rejuvenated, you know?
Well, see, Barbara Walters and Hugh Downs did a segment on 2020 years ago, and they went to the Arkansas Hot Springs, and they were talking about how the people were using that for therapy. And this one man that was constantly going, his dog had a limp, and his dog would go into the water with him, and the dog eventually lost his limp. They realized that the dog wasn't limping anymore. So that's proof right there how well those hot springs are. I think you mean tell me God made natural hot water and I didn't know nothing about it?
Come on.
God.
And we have beautiful hot springs and hot mud in Jamaica. So those are the things that we talk about all the time, but we want people to experience. You don't have to leave the United States to experience all the things that you're talking about. Some of the most beautiful beaches are here. Some of the most, the hot springs, the seven wonders of the world are here. I have visited parks, archaeological, it's amazing. And so you all look for this because I'm going to post some of it as we move along. It's just good stuff. It's good stuff. It's good stuff.
But I do what I like, and my husband used to say to me, "What do you think? I just met you?" I was married to one man for 44 years, and we dated for 2 years. So I mean, he was good, but he allowed me to do what I wanted to do.
That's my husband. That is exactly my husband. Yes, and so you appreciate men like that. You do. You absolutely do.
And the one thing about it is, I had to find out how much he really, really loved me after he left this earth. Yeah. Because I tell you, it is what it is, and I just want. And my oldest daughter is 51 years old. So that tells you. And I didn't have her at 18 or 19. I had her at 23 years old. So But I love what I did. I did hair at home, and I'm taking one of my old customers. She's 81, 82 years old, and I'm driving her to Hempstead, New York on Monday, drop her off at her brother's house.
You better come on. You know what? I love you. I love how you have such a free spirit. So this is what I'm going to do. As I get in my car to start traversing across these states, I'm going to reach out to you, and maybe I can meet you someplace, and we can do a live video.
All right. I love selfies.
Okay.
Selfies is one of my number one, and I make sure I keep my selfie stick charged up with me. I have everything I need. That's why I can travel in my car by myself, because I don't want no one to rush me back home.
Yeah. Oh, Viola, you and I, listen. If I could live my life like a nomad out there in these Wakandan streets, I would, because there's so much to see and experience in this country, and it's one of the things I want to show people, the different food, just amazing.
I sell my heavenly scented rocks. And I did a vending venue in Bloomsburg, Pennsylvania back in maybe 2007, and I couldn't get a place to stay. I slept in my van for 5 nights.
Y'all, let Miss Viola be a lesson to all of y'all about what is possible in these streets. I tried to get Denise to sleep in the car, and she said, "I am not sleeping in the car." We slept in a cabin with no indoor plumbing and ran into a mama bear, and she was like, I have to go to a bathroom. I said, "Girl, you have to learn how to rough it in these streets."
Well, I guess I got enough country blood running through my veins from South Carolina through my great-great-grandmother, so therefore I can do it and live well. It doesn't bother me at all. Plus, my husband was from West Virginia, so he was as country as anything too, even though he came here when he was 14 years old. But we really roughed it up with my children. We were on the road for 3 weeks at one time in Texas and Oklahoma. We opened up 6 Flags and closed 6 Flags.
You better. See, I hope that at least one of your grandchildren have your free spirit. In my family,
everybody, all the women in my family.
All the girls are okay, good. In my family, it's just me and my one niece. Everybody else is like, you can't do that. You shouldn't do that. You shouldn't go. Nope. Off I go. Goodbye. Viola, I gotta go because I've got to get off the air. Nick Taliaferro is coming on next. Thank you for being my last caller, though. Thank you. I appreciate you. We'll talk soon, okay?
And I'm going to thank WURD for allowing me to be able to say what I say.
Yes, ma'am. Talk to you soon.
After I hang up, I'll be getting phone calls from those that heard me.
All right, Viola. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Yes, ma'am?
You and I know some of the same people.
Okay. I believe you. I believe you.
Okay.
Hopefully.
All right.
Hopefully they're saying nice things, Miss Viola, because you're not
right. Oh, yes. They have nothing else to say but good things. Yes.
Yeah, well, good.
All
right, Miss Viola. Talk to you soon.
All right.
Yes,
Bye-bye.
ma'am. All right, bye-bye. I am literally, Miss Viola brought me right up to the edge of the end of the source for today. For those of you who are not aware, you're going to learn soon. I also design most of my own clothes. And so I'm getting ready now to go finish designing a couple of pieces because I am going to be doing the Martha's Vineyard Film Festival. And so there's some things that it's just going to be a situation. You're all just not ready in these Wakandan streets because Mova is ready to hightail up out of here. Coming up next is Evening Words with Nick Taliaferro. I am Andrea Lawful Sanders. I'll see you when I see you. Goodbye.
Sharper